I wonder how this works. Huh. Like, how do I share my screen? Oh, I'm on Zoom. Okay. Okay, just a second here. Okay, I'm going to take a copy of this. I'm getting set up for Hoof Chat. Okay. Okay, so I got to go to Zoom. Hello, whoever showed up. Hi, Sharon. I'm trying to get set up to go live on YouTube. Let's see here. Let's close that. Close. Okay, there now. Share screen. Well, we'll just put this there for now. See if that works. Okay. Now, let's see. I just have to shut me up on YouTube and find me on YouTube. Okay. Just a minute here. So this will be the first time I've tried to go live on YouTube. And now I've lost the YouTube channel. Wherever it is. Messenger. Huh. Well. Oh, I think I found it. Nope, that wasn't it. Let's see. Close that. Aha! I have found the YouTube channel. And so I just need to mute myself. All right. Okay, so we're just waiting here. I don't even know if YouTube records it. I don't know how this works. So anyway, anybody that's gonna get on this video later, you need to know that I'm trying to figure out how all this works. I have never gone live on YouTube before. Okay, so it is 12:52, so Hoof Chat does not start for another 10 minutes. But as far as I know, this YouTube channel will record it, and then I can get in there and I can edit it. Oh, can see your screen. Oh, hi. Okay. I'll start. We're going to do a Hoof Chat. Usually we do these and I record it on Zoom or I do it live on Facebook, but I've decided that I'm going to do it live on YouTube, and that then I'll just share the link on Facebook. So I'm just trying to find everything here. So anyway, what you're looking at here is a hoof I helped somebody try and trim yesterday virtually, and she did pretty good. But anyway, we're going to look at some things that kind of went on there and what's going on with this horse. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to Facebook so I can Okay. Let's see. You can tune in on YouTube here. Okay. If you do not want your hooves to be seen publicly, better let me know. Because here's the deal. If you want help, then you have to also agree that your story and what's going on with you and what's going on with your horse gets be known by everybody else too. That's part of it, because we're all here to help everybody. Our story, everything helps others. Of course. Okay, that's the deal with me helping people. Okay, it ain't private. All right. Well, sometimes it is. You know, if you don't want nobody to know, you better say something. Okay, here comes somebody else. Who is this? Let's find out. Hey, Allie. So we got Allie here. We got Sharon here. Just waiting for people to show up on Zoom.
Hello.
Hi. How are you doing?
Doing okay. How about you?
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So just so you know that I'm doing this live on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
So if anybody doesn't want to whatever, then
Yeah.
they're going to have to, click out or
Yeah.
do whatever.
Thank
And
you.
stuff. So so anyway, it's just 12:56. So this thing starts at 1, and so I wanted to get the YouTube thing set up because I never done it before. And I because that way, if it's already on YouTube and they record it, all I might have to do is go in there and edit something a little bit at the first. Right now I'm anyway, I wonder if I can click on that. Okay. All right. Well, I just seeing how all this works. Really, I'm not that technical. So Allie, how are you doing with your horse?
Good. We've just kind of been focusing, on the frog cleanup and getting that more healthy because it was pretty it was just messed up.
Yeah.
And then just kind of keeping the toe not going crazy, but just keeping the leverage off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of just seeing how she does. And it looks good. And I'm going to be putting I got the sole guard, so I'm going to put that by the toe to keep that a little bit more secure, so that we don't have that inner foot pulling backwards.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm anxious to see how that works.
Yeah, I'm going to take some pictures soon. She's a little difficult to hold the foot up for too long, so I have to be real patient.
Yep, I know how that goes.
Yeah, she wants to pull the foot away a lot, but
yeah,
it's getting better. So
she got one foot that she'll stand on more than the other, or both the same?
Both are the same, and she's really not happy about giving me the back feet. So I'm just trying to do what I can where I can and hope that she gets the idea that this is good. This is not going to be bad anymore. Like
yeah.
I mean, she used to have to be sedated for the Farrier, so this is an improvement.
Yeah, this ought to be telling us something.
Exactly.
That was when, and yeah, okay, naming names. Cheryl Henderson, ABC Hoof Scare, Oregon School of Natural Hoof Care. When she had her Yahoo group, first of all, I noticed that all the horses' feet were getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and people were complaining about how their horses were sore for weeks after trim. And then one day she comes up with the post, and She's telling people how to get drugs from their vet to sedate their horses and blindfold them.
Yeah.
So something ought to be telling you something, that if your horse is sore for weeks after a trim, if your horse was formerly easy to get along with, and all of a sudden they're fighting the farrier or the trimmer every time.
Yeah.
See, it's about then that you should be saying, maybe it's my trimming, and so that's a lot of these barefoot trims. Horses that were easy and manageable get so that they just don't want to get trimmed anymore because they associate it with pain, so good. I think that's great that she's getting better for you. See, that says something right there.
Slow and steady, it's
Yeah.
just really just taking my time and making sure, I'm keeping an eye on things. So
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Okay, hello, Antoinette, Sharon, Dorota. Let's see here. Now I need to share this, get it on another page. So hold on. We're just gonna kind of wait for a few people to get here, and then let's see. I need to find the other page. Just a second here. Okay. Okay. Got to post this on another page. Just a second. Okay. All these things I post on YouTube anyway, so I can't see why anybody's going to have a problem, with it. All right. And I'll edit some of this stuff out as well, the way we started here, because it's all just a black screen when you first start out. Okay. All right. Well, what do we want to talk about today? I should do some hoof evaluations today. Just a second here. I gotta get a hold of a gal. Let's just start going through some pictures. Just a second. Okay, gotta find the Zoom screen. Too many. I'm telling you what, when you get to doing this, you got so many screens, it's hard to figure out where you're at. Hold on. Okay, new share. So 102. Okay, well, I'm just going to go through a trim I did yesterday with somebody and a hoof evaluation on a horse that some people bought, and he was lame when they bought him. And it's obviously obvious that he has laminitis, okay, or founder, but it's mechanical. And so when you see the feet, you're going to know that I'm going to tell you that most laminitis cases are mechanical. It is either from the feet getting too long to where they become like levers that are prying the hoof capsule off, or from having the heels trimmed out, which puts another whole different set of leverages and pressures on the capsule that want to pull it off. So it's really important that people understand what leverage means. Does anybody know what a cheater bar is? Anybody here ever do any mechanic work or, put something together, or does anybody know what a cheater bar is? Okay, well, a cheater bar is, I'll show you here, just a second here. I found me a good cheater bar yesterday when I was cleaning some stuff up over in our junk pile. Cheater bar. Cheater bar is a winch, is a bar that is used to winch stuff. Let me just a minute and I'll find you a picture. The cheater bar. Okay, well, here. We're going to get you just a second here. Got a new share. Okay, can everybody see that picture? It's a picture of some guys working on a either a tank or a caterpillar. Okay, and so let me save this image here and new share somewhere else. Cheater bar. You see, you have to understand what leverage means. If you're going to understand these hoof capsules and the effect that the hoof capsule can have on the inner foot, and what excess growth or trimming the wrong thing out and changing angles and things like that are, you have to understand leverage. Like if I have some leverage on you, that means I have some strength over you, right? Okay, so a cheater bar, I found me a really good one yesterday. I'd been looking for one because I had a thin pipe and that's made out of that thin stuff, that like chain link fence pipe. That stuff is cheap and thin. It doesn't make a very good leverage bar unless whatever you're turning is really weak. So, okay, here's what I want you to see. Leverage. Okay, so here they have this, see, they're pulling these chains together. This thing here, I forget what this is called, but it's got a hook here and it's got a hook here, and here's the handle, and they got this hook to the chain here and this hook to a chain over here, and what they're doing is they're tightening up this chain real tight. And so this thing here, it's got a short handle that ends probably right about here. Okay, so for them to be able to get leverage and be able to really put some torque on this and pull this together, you take the pipe here. This is just a plain old pipe, and you put it over the handle, and then they can all grab onto it. And even if it's just one person, okay, like if you lengthen this pipe out and you got rid of two guys, one guy could still probably do the same pulling as all three guys if you just had a longer cheater bar. See, the longer the bar, the more force and the more leverage that you have to pull on something. Like if you have a bolt on something and you have a wrench and that bolt is just really tight and you're not strong enough, if you take a bar, a pipe, and you put it over the handle of your wrench, and then you get out here and you pull, that magnifies your strength and it magnifies the pull. And so you're saying, what does that have to do with hooves? Simple. The longer the hoof wall gets past the sole and past the point of where it's supposed to be, the more leverage is on and torque is on the hoof wall that is prying it away from the foot. Okay, here's another way you could understand it. You have really long fingernails, you know, say they're an inch long. Well, that nail can exert a lot of leverage on your whole fingernail and on the nail bed. It's a lot easier for me to rip a fingernail off of my nail bed if my nail is long than if my nail is short. See, it takes way less to rip that fingernail off. And so this is what you're dealing with when you're dealing with hooves and hooves that are getting really long. Let's see. Okay, so leverage. You don't want there to be different kinds of leverages on the hoof capsule because either because you have trimmed something too short or you've allowed something to get too long, because this is the main cause of laminitis. Because what is laminitis? Laminitis is where the hoof wall, the hoof wall is joined together by two sets of lamina, okay, that join together the hoof capsule itself. Let me find a picture of a hoof capsule, just a second here. Hold on. Take me a second to find a picture of a hoof capsule. Come on. Okay, so I'm not going to sit around for half a day and find all the pictures I'm going to use in hoof chat because I already spent enough time doing this. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at this here. New share. Okay. Here we have a hoof capsule and here's the hoof. Now the lamina, you see these little lines here? Okay, they're actually connected, which you can't see it on this foot. This is the sole corium we're looking at on this foot. You can see though that this foot had way too much leverage in the toe, and look what happened to the toe. Okay, this horse had laminitis. Okay, where the separation and damage happened in the toe here. But okay, you see these little lines here, that's lamina. Well, there's lamina on the outside of this foot as well that connects into this in between all those little lines. Okay, so when that starts getting ripped apart, that's when you get laminitis. See, when there's a nice, correct, firm connection, and the whole capsule here is in weight, is connected correctly and supporting correctly and the right length and snugly fitted, you're not going to have laminitis. Very rarely are you going to have metabolic laminitis. Okay, unless you know your horse got into the grain barrel. And even if they do get some inflammation, like say in the spring, the grass comes on strong or they're eating fescue, which is not good. Okay, even if they have a reaction to where they get inflammation in the lamina, in the two laminas. Now you got to remember, it is laminitis because you know what it means when something's laminated? It means you got layers of stuff that are stuck together. Okay, they like plywood. Plywood is laminated. It's layered and it's stuck together. Well, these two laminas are layered this way here on the outside of the foot and here, and they're stuck together. So when you have laminitis, there's separation. Okay, just like when you tear your fingernail off, there's separation between the fingernail and the nail bed. Okay, and so in the spring, and there are different times through stress or different things, yeah, a horse could get inflammation in his feet, but chances are you're not going to have full-blown laminitis or a problem because there's no leverage on the capsule that is also torquing and pulling on the capsule that's going to separate and tear away. So hold on here a second. I got to find another picture. See if I can find a picture of the lamina. Okay, well, we'll look at this. New share. Okay, so you see right here, this is the lamina. What you're seeing here, you're seeing both. Okay, see the white part there? That's the lamina that is part of the hoof capsule. See the soft tissue here? That's the lamina that is part of the foot. So when you take a hoof capsule off, this part comes off with the hoof capsule, with the hoof wall in one piece. I mean, because that hoof capsule is on there as one unit. And so when you remove the hoof capsule, which is not the easiest thing to do, when you remove it, it comes off all in one piece, just like a shoe. And so here you have sole corium. Now, this is what I want you to notice. Here's your toe. There's coffin bone. It's covered with corium, which is like a thick Dr. Shell's gel pad. Okay, and of course, this is laminar corium. Corium just means skin. That's all. It's skin. But it's a different kind of, you have different kinds of skins that grow different things. Here you got the sole corium right here. Okay, and look here, it grows the sole. And guess what? Everything on this thing is tubules. Tubules of one kind or another, just like hair. Here's your wall. See the tubules? And there's usually more tubules in the pigmented or outer wall than there is on the internal wall. And so it's hardest out here, and then it gets softer as you go into the whiter part of the wall. So the wall, and then you have the lamina right here. The two laminas stuck together, and one is like your nail bed, and the other is like your fingernail. And so when these are separated, that's when, or inflamed, that's when you have laminitis. Now, these are really tightly connected right here. And you don't see really any inflammation per se in them, or separation. And so, and also this horse has a good white line. See, this is the white line, because look what here. So the wall and the lamina grow down to here and are connected to here. Then right here where the sole corium starts, a process happens where whatever happens biologically there, that foot, because the sole doesn't have lamina. It doesn't have a lamina to connect the wall to, like it did here. So the wall grows down past the sole here. So right here, this situation happens. It sounds so technical or scientific, don't I? This thing happens. This thing happens where the foot produces this stuff that's like rubber cement. If anybody's ever worked with rubber cement, you know what it's like, right? That it's got a certain texture. Once it's dry, it's kind of soft. Okay, it's like it injects rubber cement into the lamina of the hoof wall, this whiter part of the wall here. And so it injects this rubber cement where it joins the sole to the lamina that grew down the wall here, hit here. It injects that rubbery cement stuff, laminar serum, call it, or whatever. And then it joins, that's how it joins the wall and the sole together. And then you have what's called a tight white line. You see this right here, really yellow. See, it's even the color of rubber cement, which is really interesting. So it's even the color of rubber cement. So here's your sole right here, and see your sole tubules. Okay, and you see that your sole, look at the shape of it. It's convex. Now they may have rasped this flat here, but look at the shape of it here. It's convex, right? Right here. And your sole corium starts up here. It's not just directly under the foot. So see, this is not concave. This is your convex sole ridge that surrounds the perimeter of your whole foot. And then so you got this tight white line, and the sole is connected tightly to the wall. So I'm going to show you examples of what is not a tight white line on a horse whose hoof walls got too long. And so the wall was able to be leveraged out. And it's like the wall itself becomes its own cheater bar and just starts wrenching the wall away from the sole right here. And then once it separates right here in the white line, because see, if this wall got way long, let's see here. Let me do this, annotation. Okay, say this wall grew way out here, like so. That becomes the cheater bar. That becomes leverage, okay? And it starts pulling this way. And then this starts separating in here so that then you don't have a tight white line. And it might separate up into here this far, but then the longer that the horse has the long wall, well, the more leverage and torque. And so then it's going to start separating clear up into here. This is when, and it's going to pull this lamina out away from the sensitive structure here. And that's when you get what's called a laminar, you start getting a laminar wedge because the foot is trying to heal itself. And so it starts injecting more of this laminar serum as well. What I find interesting is that the lamina from the hoof wall, which is horn, starts multiplying in here, and that's where you get your laminar wedge in here. Say what would be like this, because your hoof wall has been pulled clear out here like this. See? And so yes, and so then you have this laminar wedge in between there, right in here. Okay, let me undo this. So you can have this to different degrees. Let's see, just a second here. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to show you examples of a tight white line, and then a horse whose walls got too long that they got leveraged and everything started pulling. The hoof capsule started being pulled off. See, just like if you've done dissections, you learn how to pull the hoof capsule off. Well, the horse can pull his own hoof capsule off if the walls get too long. The heels get too long, okay, then that's going to create a lever pulling the foot off, the capsule off the back of the foot. The toe gets too long, that creates a lever pulling the front off, and so the whole capsule gets loosened, just like your fingernail getting loosened from your nail bed. And so what has to happen then? Well, if it hasn't if it hasn't been pulled off too much, then the foot can heal and keep growing out a relatively good capsule. But if there is a lot of separation and continual damage, continual damage. Then you wind up with a situation where you have to grow off the old and try and grow on the new. And it's not easy. It's not easy because then you have to decide, well, what can I take without making the horse really sore? What kind of, whatchamacallit, um, what kind of support can I give the horse? Can I put clogs on him? Can I put shoes on him? Can I put pads on him? Can I put boots on him? See, then you got to decide how can I help this horse not tear his hoof capsule off more than it already is? And how can I help this horse grow on a correctly fitted hoof capsule? And of course, we're learning more and more and more about that as we come to recognize the fact that the horse's foot is not this capsule. The horse's foot is the inner foot here first. And to understand exactly what that inner foot is supposed to look like. So let's see here. Just a second. I need to was that already on there? Did I put that there? I might have put that there. I don't know. Just a second. Okay, so let me find another example of some hoof capsules and different things. Okay. I want to show you, this is interesting. This is the same foot, but I want to show you what it looks like when all the blood is out of it. Okay? Just a second here. New share. There we go. So this is what the foot looks like when I first pull the capsule off. And this is what it looks like after it's soaked for a while. And all the blood is out of it. Now, you see, it's just skin. That's all it is. It's just skin. Skin that grows. Now look here, you can see the bar lamina that fits in right there. See, all these here fit in between all these here. And then of course you have this same lamina on the outer part of the foot around here. Now, again, so you have two laminas, and when they get separated, that's laminitis. That's why it's called laminitis. Okay? Okay, just a minute here. I'm going to try and find you a couple other examples here. Okay. As I show this picture, I also claim the doctrine of fair use, which other people's pictures can be used for criticism or study and analogy and all that. Okay, so here you go. Plus, this horse was a wild horse. It belongs to America, right? So, okay. Let's see. New share. Uh-oh, I just got some sort of message. Hold on. What did that say? I don't know what that said. Okay, new share. Let's see. Hold on. I just lost what I had. Okay. Just a second. I got to close some windows here. Hold on. Okay, screen share. Here, let me put this back on for a second until I find this other one. Now, this is the foot we're going to look at. The foot that got way too much leverage on it, and so he was pulling his hoof capsule off. Let me find a couple other examples. I don't know why this won't let me open this picture. Okay. You share. Okay. Um, Here you see the lamina, the internal lamina of the foot. Now, this is really actually a really good picture to look at because this was a wild horse, a 3-year-old horse that got killed in a cattle guard in the winter. If you don't know what a cattle guard is, a cattle guard is a guy that goes out and stands guard over cattle. No, not really. I know somebody played a trick on somebody like that one time. It's kind of funny. But anyway, a cattle guard out in America anyway, in the West. I don't know if they use these in Europe, but you'll have a fence, and then instead of having to open a gate all the time, they'll take a big piece of metal with metal bars, and they'll insert it into the road with a big ditch under it, so that an animal will look and not want to step in there, but a car can drive right over it. Unfortunately, sometimes horses running or something might not know it's there and run into it, and then their legs go through it, and they're going to get their legs broke and all that. So this horse was 3-year-old wild horse, in the perfect environmental setting where they had pretty good food, but also rough terrain, but yet it wasn't totally dry because in the winter it snowed, and so there was moisture. And so this horse, being 3 years old, just happened to wear its feet perfectly. So you see here that there is a very tight white line over here. You can't see any space between the wall. Totally tight in the toe. Another thing you see is, let's see here, is the lamina. You see the lamina, how straight they are? And then here that joins up with the sole right here, where it would inject that rubber cement so that it could connect to the sole here. And then the wall and the sole grow down together. Now, what I want you to see here is the angle of the lamina and the angle of the sole tubules right here is the same. That's because the wall, which grows down here, and the lamina and the horn tubules, it's got this thickness of wall here all the way around. See the tubules in the wall? It's because they grow down and connect here. They're supposed to grow down from there, connect with the specific piece of sole right here. And then they grow down to the ground, connected the wall and the sole together by what I told you, the white line. That is that place where the sole corium here injects that rubber cement into the lamina of the hoof wall to join it to the sole. And so then look, everything is in weight-bearing unity here. You see that? Okay, but and look at the toe. Okay, now if I could show you too where these horn tubules aren't just worn off like somebody rasped it off, where they literally are curved around like this. See? So now imagine if this wall got way long down here. Okay? This now turns into a lever that's going to pull this whole wall away from its connection here. First, it'll start here. It'll get all stretched and black and ugly right here. And it's going to pull it that way. And eventually it's going to make it curved and everything else. That's what you call like a flare. Okay, now let's say that doesn't happen. Let's say instead what happens is just a minute, is you can't see the heel on this particular picture, but you see, let's see. Okay, you see the sole here. It's going to be the same thickness all the way back to the heel. You understand? It's going to be the same thickness all the way back to the heel here. That's your sole right in here. So then let's say for some reason this horse sheds his frog. Now this horse's frog was also very thick and down to the ground, but let's say for some reason this wild horse gets caught and run in, and for some reason he's in a crappy corral with a bunch of other wild horses full of manure and wet and everything else, and so now his frogs get all thrushy and nasty and he sheds off a bunch of frog, let's say. Okay, and so now some yahoo that's been taught barefoot trimming that they're all supposed to look, you know, like this. All horses' feet are supposed to look just like that. See, like a little triangle with the hairline going down to the ground. Some yahoo like me, like I used to be, comes in there and says, oh, well, we've got to have frog contact. And they come in there and they take the heels down like that. Let's do a different color. What is going on? There we go. They take the heels down like this. Now what's going to happen? See, we're talking about two different ways laminitis can happen here. Because laminitis is where the laminas get separated, right? And so on the side of the foot here, you would have the lamina of the hoof capsule interconnected with the lamina of the foot. Again, what is the lamina? It on the hoof capsule, it's these little thin sheets, vertical sheets of hoof wall, thinner than paper, interspersed in between this living tissue, also called lamina, of the actual foot of the horse. Okay, and as you see, they're supposed to be in alignment, right? So that there's weight-bearing equilibrium, there's weight-bearing unity here. And so now some yahoo like me, or the rest of us yahoos, have been told the fallacy that all horses' feet are supposed to look something like this little triangle I got here, because it's based on a wild horse that died and wore its heels out, which this horse didn't. She's only 3 years old. She's a perfect foot. Let's say I come in there and say, oh, well, because for some reason or other, she lost some frog or who knows, you know, and I say, oh, well, I've got to lower the heels. And so I come in there and I take this whole chunk off right here. Now, let me tell you that this foot, that's the red part you see here, that foot, no matter what, that foot always wants to stand in the same position, just like your feet do. Okay? But when I come in and I jerk the heels off right here, all of a sudden now the toe is high, but the heels are low. And it's also done this other deal where instead of the capsule and the lamina being in alignment like that, now the foot still wants to be in the same alignment, but now we've put everything at a different angle, like this. See? And so now what's going to happen is the lamina on the hoof capsule is going to be forced forward. That means that this piece of lamina that starts growing, or this piece of hoof wall that's connected into this lamina that grows here, that hooks up with the sole here, and is supposed to grow to the ground here, that now it's being shoved forward and disconnected. Okay, see, when you look at the horn tubules on these horses on the side, and you see a horn tubule that should start here and go to here, but all of a sudden now it's going clear up to here. Let's put it in a different color. Let's try another color. Let's do green. When you got a horn tubule goes like that, See, what is that going to do? Well, it's going to push the toe forward too. You know, and so now you've instantly got a form of laminitis. This is why you see these horses that you got this white line separation, especially in the quarters. Well, then if you look at the side of the foot and the horn tubule, instead of starting here, connecting here, and growing here, is now up here, that's why you have separation. And so that's why one of the things that we do here in correcting these foot is we really work at getting these horn tubules to come back to where they're supposed to be so that they're growing down here, connecting with the sole here, and then growing down like that. Okay, so leverage is an enemy to the foot of the horse. Let me undo all this. If the walls get too long, or if the heels are trimmed too short, that also creates leverage. And what you wind up in both cases is the foot of the horse pulling one way and the capsule pulling the other way. And so what we're trying to do is understand all this, and we're trying to learn about corrective and maintenance trimming in order to keep the hoof capsule without leverage and in alignment with the inner foot so that it grows correctly. Now, we're going to look at an example of two different feet. Just a minute, got to find them. Got to take a drink of water. Okay, well, I'm going to stop there for a minute and ask if there's any questions about what I've shown you so far.
Linda, this is Antoinette.
Hello.
Hi. I have a question that is related, but you may want me to wait until you show the examples, but let me ask it and then you can decide.
Okay.
When the toe wall and the sole wall join together, at the sole, okay, I get all of that. I understand the lamina alignment and whatever. What I don't understand is where the toe callus comes from and how you differentiate toe callus from sole ridge.
Okay, well, a toe callus could just be retained sole, but okay, so if I'm a farrier and I don't even know there's supposed to be a sole ridge, because see, they're taught that the foot is only concave, and so they're taught to carve that sole ridge out all the time. Okay, so I'm a farrier and I'm studying these wild horses, and I noticed that in the toe of these horses there's this round thing, area of sole, and so I'm trying to define what that is, and so I assume that it's just built up concave sole, and so therefore what would I call built up skin? A callus, right? And so what these guys did was they misinterpreted what they were looking at. And so they started calling the sole ridge a toe callus. Do you see what I'm saying? Because farriers do not know the true anatomy of the sole. And neither do vets, neither do any of them. Because hoof capsules are so hard to remove that most of the feet that have been done over the years, they teach that the foot is only concave. See, I can show you multitudes of pictures where they teach anatomy and they don't even know the horse has a convex sole ridge around the perimeter of his foot. Okay, look at this picture here. Just a minute here. Let me see if I got that somewhere else. Okay, just a minute here. I don't know what's going on. I'll talk about this more later too, about how they don't know the anatomy. Now, first though, I want you to look at this foot. Okay, do you see the lamina here? Annette?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, you see the lamina? It starts right here, right? And it goes where? To right there. See there?
Yeah.
It ends there. So what do we have in between there and there? Do you know what that's called? It's soul corium. It's what grows the soul. Okay? And so in every single picture that they draw about the anatomy, you won't see that. What you will see is you'll see the lamina going and ending there. Well, you think about structure. If the soul starts growing here and the foot itself curves, well, darn this stupid thing here. The foot itself comes down like this and curves around like this, okay? And so if the soul starts growing, can you see that? I made it kind of small.
Yes.
Okay. That's the foot, let's say. If the soul starts growing here, then my soul is going to grow like this. See how it's making a convex ridge right there? Okay, but if my soul, we'll do another one. If my lamina ends clear down here and my soul starts growing here, then it's only convex like that. That's how they have it all pictured. And so if I'm a person and I don't even know what the true anatomy of the soul is, but I'm trying to interpret what I'm seeing on these wild horse feet, and I see this big convex thing of soul in the toe, I'm going to think, oh, well, that's a toe callus. That's how he interpreted it, because they don't know the true anatomy. See, they don't know that the soul has a soul ridge here. They're always cutting it out. That's another reason why horses get laminitis, because you come over here and you do this number all the time. Okay. They don't think any of this should be bearing any weight at all. So they're always coming over here and cutting it out and making it concave like that. Well, you see how that makes it easier for especially if the toe gets long, for the foot to fall through the sole and for the wall to separate from the sole. See, a part of this is understanding what they think, what they believe, where it came from, why they believe it, and the effects that then has on the foot that they're working with. See, I'll show you here. Just a minute here.
Okay, so just so I understand, your premise is that there is no toe callus, that anything that looks like a callus is sole ridge.
Yeah. And I mean,
Okay.
that's not to say that it can't get built up and get a little hard and get a little calloused, you know what I'm saying? But see, then they come up with this deal, oh, don't touch the toe callus. Okay.
Well, that's where I got into trouble, because I moved from Rocky, Tennessee to Sandy, South Carolina, and the toe callus, because it was calloused, you know, I was altering my trim because of that callus, because I was taught that you never violate the toe callus.
Yeah. So
that's what started me down the rocky road. So now that I'm on the straighter path and, you know, toes are moving back and everything's happening, I'm sort of wondering, whether I'm developing toe callus from the sand or if it's, you know, I'm not sure where to stop.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm looking at sole ridge or toe callus. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. See, because here's the thing. The wall in the toe does not stop growing, you know, and so gradually, because they said, oh, don't touch the toe callus, okay, the toe gets longer and longer and out there, you know, and it's not like it quits growing. You have to learn to manage the sole and to trim the sole along with the wall. And so what you're looking at is not toe callus, though it can get retained and, you know, hardened over. And then you wind up with your toe growing way the heck out here, you know, because they kept saying, oh, don't touch the toe callus. Well, what do they think? The wall quits growing? You know? And the sole, here's another thing they didn't know. This sole here can stretch clear out. This sole can stretch clear out to here. I needed a pen. So it can stretch, the wall can move clear out to here, and the sole can stretch clear out to here. See, so you have to learn to manage that. And then when all that's happening, all these other things that should be in alignment here are stretching forward with it, like so.
And
so
that, I'm assuming, is how we all have wound up with such thin-soled horses.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good because see,
I argued this for 1.5 years with the farrier before I fired him. So, okay.
Okay. Yeah, see, they've been taught error upon error upon error. And so then when they go to look at a foot, they have all that error and erroneous teaching in there. And so their interpretation of what they're seeing is not accurate. And so the interpretations that these farriers made of these wild feet is not accurate. That includes Jamie Jackson and Gene Ovenick. See? Because Gene Ovenick's the one that did the toe callus thing, because in his interpretation of what he saw when he did the board imprints of the wild horse feet, you know, he's been taught that the foot is concave. All of them have. And so when they see that, yeah, then they say, oh, don't touch that. Well, and so here you got them. Here's what happens. So they set you up like this. Never touch the toe callus, but always take the heels down to the base of the frog. See what's going on there?
I'm laughing. You couldn't hear me because I'd muted myself.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Yeah, I've heard that all before.
You know, so your foot's getting lower behind and longer in front, you know, and then it's developing all this separation in the quarter. And then they say, oh, well, it's because the horse's foot is arched. They're scooped in the quarter. So you got to put that scoop in there, when in reality, they've just deformed the whole foot. You know, and they're doing all these readings off of the deformations that they're making. Because see, like you said something really important. No wonder our horses got such thin sole. Well, here's the thing. See, understanding how this sole grows too. See, you can look at this picture and you can see the sole tubules right here. And on this horse there, he's got about 1 inch of sole here, because the sole will grow 3/4 to 1 inch, and then it dies. It exfoliates. The wall can grow and grow and grow and not die, but the sole naturally dies when it gets about that long. And the sole tubules are supposed to be at a specific angle like this, and they are supported by the wall that grows down like this. Okay, so when the wall goes forward like this, and the sole tubule that only grows this long then starts going like that, you see how it gets thinner and thinner soled?
Or
Because you're,
sideways too, Linda.
what?
Or sideways too.
Yeah, I guess I'm not understanding what you're saying. Say that again.
What I'm saying, the foot is in a three-dimensional shape. So what you see happening in the dorsal wall going forward can happen on the side of the foot moving sideways too.
Like this, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
The
Yes,
flare, the
yes,
flaring that goes out like this, so the
yes,
just platter foot, splatter
yes,
footed.
yeah,
Yeah, and so then your sole, you have no sole because the
yeah,
wall,
because it's stretched forward and sideways, so it thins
yeah,
out even more.
yeah, all the way around. Good point. See, and so what we're doing is we're trying to bring all those walls back in tight and correct, and all the horn tubules into alignment so they can come down here, meet up with the sole where it's supposed to. Then they grow down to the ground together, and you get that nice thick shoe of sole ridge. See, what I found really interesting was that it literally is the same size as a shoe you would put on the foot. And so what we've been taught to do over the centuries is to remove the natural shoe and replace it with a man-made shoe. See? Okay, so let's see here. All right, so I'm going to show you an example here. I just have to get it together here. Well, this is old pictures of my horse's foot from last year, but that's okay. Let me see. And then we'll go to this other. Okay. This is okay. I want to show you a nice tight white line. And this foot was not fully correct yet either. It was still bound up in the back. But I want to show you, but the tubules are in basic good alignment in the quarters and in the toe and stuff. So let me show you this. And tight white line is right here. See that there? That's what a good tight white line is supposed to look like. And the color is pretty much right too. The more yellow it is, that means the more you may have some stretching and maybe somewhat compromised, I think. But I would ask Riza about that. Do you think, because I noticed the better my foot gets, that the white line is more of a gray like this than real yellow?
Yeah, I mean, look, it depends because they walk all over the place. So, I mean, but when you do clean it out like that, it tends to be, most that I've seen is more yellow than comparison to the wall, you know, because you get the outer pigmentation layer, then you get the white layer, the softer layer, and then in contrast to that white layer, the white line really looks kind of yellow. But it's, I mean, it varies from, I mean, different horses. It can be more yellow, and some can be more like an opaque yellow, and then the others that you find is they've got some redness in there as well.
Oh yeah, that too. And what, see, now I've found some interesting things too, that when there's separation, like right in here,
Yeah.
I've seen it come out and ooze over the sole and the toe, and there be a big rubber glob stuck
Yes.
here.
Yeah, it's almost like an injury trying to heal itself. That's what it
Yeah,
looks like. And the sole in that area becomes quite yellow as well.
yeah,
Like it's not like this mottled color. It's more like a uniform yellow
yeah,
sole.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the fresher it is, and like if I was to keep rasping down into this foot here, it would get more yellow as we get closer in,
Yeah, I suppose. I
you
mean,
know?
depending on how
Um,
deep the injury goes.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm
some of
trying
it
to
has probably all
remember,
grown out.
and I've seen it do this before, where it would ooze. This is what I did one time. It oozed out back when I used to totally butcher the toes, okay, it would ooze out, it would stick to the wall and to the sole in a big glob. And it felt just like rubber. And what I noticed about it was then if you didn't remove it and it stayed there long enough that it would dry and it would harden and it would turn clear like decoupage. And
Yeah,
it was gluing the
the two
wall
together,
and yeah, so it's really an amazing substance.
yeah, because if you think about it, your actual white line is very rubbery if you feel it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
actually the connection between your soul and your wall. You know, it's that connection that basically keeps them together, and also basically allows them to kind of have a little bit of movement in that area. You know,
yeah,
it's almost like elastic band, so it moves forward and backwards as well. It allows for that.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, if
It's
the toe leverage just gets more and more and more, it can actually stretch that white line more and more and more.
yeah, exactly. See, and so what we want is we want this eventually to have a nice tight white line. Like you cannot always rasp the foot down to get that, and you don't want to try and do that all the time. But
You might make it lame.
yeah, you make your horse lame. But on a really good foot, when you do a trim, when everything's together, you
Yeah.
should be able to on occasion get this cleaned up foot with a nice tight white line. Like, wouldn't you like to put a shoe on that foot? Like if
No.
you're a farrier, you know what I mean?
No,
Like that's the ideal foot to shoe, right?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
no.
yeah. No, but I mean, when you got a foot like that, you don't need to put the shoe on it.
No, 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 but you know what I
People don't
mean?
have that.
You know how farriers are? They're like, oh, all right, this makes my job easy. I don't even have to shape the shoe. All
They
right.
just have to slap it on.
Okay, so let me look up some other pictures here of
The white line teaches you a lot of things, or tells you a lot of things. You know, in
yeah.
I mean, if you look at your white line, you can actually see it's slightly wider in the toe than it is in the quarters. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you can see that. Now, it's probably because there was at some stage leverage on the toe, or the toe grows faster than the rest of the foot forward, or flaring forward, that causes that stretch. And what was the kind of what was my point that I was on to make?
I do that. Don't you hate that?
Oh gosh,
What's
tell me
about your
about it.
bedtime, isn't it?
Close, it's close.
I was gonna make a point. Where did it go? It'll come back.
Oh well,
I've done
we'll have
that.
to just work with it.
In fact, I
Um,
do that a lot.
completely lost that train of thought.
Well, you said something interesting there, though. Let me go back to this picture.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because
This
I
is what I was
was
gonna
looking
make.
at this too.
Let me just
Okay,
say this. I'm gonna forget it again.
okay, you
What I was
see
gonna,
where this is a little different right here?
yeah,
Okay, so in all four toes of his
yeah.
feet, he had what do you call those things? Um, just a minute here, and I'll draw it. I'll show you what he had for years, which he doesn't have anymore. Just a minute here. Okay, he had this number going on. First of all, the white line came and went down like this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay, and he would get a big black dot right here.
Yep.
And
And it
so he
sometimes
had
rots
that.
down deep and cracks
Yeah,
the wall.
he had that for years, and now he doesn't have it like he used to, but you can still see where the damage was
Yeah.
right here.
They
And
probably damaged the lamina in that area.
yeah, and that was from me. That was for two reasons. Over when you trim out the heels and you over trim the toe, you're putting a lot of pressure on that toe,
Hmm.
pushing down. And so I imagine when he dies and I dissect his feet that I'm going to find a divot here.
In his fetal bone, yeah.
Yeah, but he had these in all 4 feet, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me why. But when I restored the heels, they all disappeared. And I would dig that out and it would be clean and it would always come back. But see, here's the interesting part was the white line, see the shape of it? And it's still
Yeah.
kind of like that. Just a minute. You can see it here. See it?
Yeah.
How it kind of goes down right in
Yeah.
there.
It's almost like
You know,
the horn is going a bit rogue there.
the what?
The horn, the
Yeah.
actual horn connection is actually a little bit, it's almost like it's bunched up or
Yeah.
some damage has occurred there that is probably not worked itself out yet. But I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of it's probably dead
Yeah.
over
And
time.
he'll probably have that permanent divot
Oh yeah,
right
this
in
is the thing
there.
that I was going to, the point that I was going to make is, I mean, you see the size of your white line, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I've noticed is a lot of horses, I mean, on the whole, most decent feet horses with decent feet have a white line that's basically about, I'd say about 5 mils. I don't know what you call it. Maybe that's 1/8 of an inch, right? 5
Uh-huh.
mils, I'm sure. A thickness of white line. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, so when you have, especially in the toe area, from I'd say from where the quarters start forward,
Uh-huh.
you will find that the white line might deviate slightly, slightly getting wider. Probably
Wider.
because, yeah, probably no. I'm talking about from your quarters start, not from you get the quarters pillars and moving forward to the toe. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So your white line will get slightly wide in that area, probably because pillars were long, not long, but I mean, it has a tendency of growing faster and longer. So it kind of put a little bit strain and leverage on that area. So your white
Yeah.
line kind of stitch with it a little bit to just basically, the elasticity of it allows it so to keep the whole foot together, basically, you know.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I've found is, with laminitic horses, when the coffin bone basically rotates down and the lamina starts to come adrift from the dorsal wall, you'll find that your white line will also stitch to a point where it basically can't anymore, and then you'll find a gap in the toe there. I mean, I find it in a lot of horses with laminitis before.
Uh-huh.
But your white line, but your white line will be stitched quite to its limit as such. So it's like if
Yeah.
you stitch an elastic band and you stitch it to its limit, it's going to break. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah. And
So
that's what you're
yeah,
going to see on this horse. I'm going to show you here that
yeah,
I tried to help her trim him to start getting some leverage off his feet.
yeah, and the other thing with the white line is as well. This is the point that I forgot earlier, is that when you have a horse with a negative palmar angle, where your pedal bone is or your coffin bone is actually lower in the back of the foot by maybe lots of reasons, maybe trimming the heels out, wearing the heels out, or just the deformation in the foot by the way the horse walks it out. What happens is your toe keeps growing, but your actual heels is getting worn or trimmed out for some reason. And
Uh-huh.
what happens is if you look at the white line in horses like that, that white line will actually be much narrower or tighter in the toe from pillar to pillar. It will be much tighter. The reason for that is that the coffin bone now is not sitting at a positive angle in the foot anymore. It's now either parallel or lower behind. So it's going to be a
Yeah.
negative palmar angle. So what happens is your pedal bone is squashing your lamina against your natural growth of your wall. So what happens is your wall then basically grows tighter over your pedal bone. So it becomes like a hump in the dorsal wall. And that hump is almost like it's squeezing the horn tighter onto your pedal bone or coffin bone. And you will find that your actual white line itself will be much thinner in that area. So if you see a horse with a white line that's thinner in the toe, then that it should be like say 5 mils or a quarter of an not a quarter, 1/8 of an inch, you'll probably have a horse with a negative palmar angle.
Uh-huh.
So basically, you can judge that your heels are basically trimmed out in that section.
Yeah, and so it's putting more pressure,
Yeah,
more
because I mean,
separation. Yeah.
so, no, sometimes they don't separate, but with the negative former angle, it's more that the actual coffin bone is being pushed harder up against your dorsal wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I know what you're saying there.
yeah,
And so that's going to make that divot like, well, okay, the foot I showed you earlier where the toe was totally worn off.
which one is it? I didn't see it earlier.
Let's see if I can, just a second. Let me find it again. The dissection I did of the horse that really wore its toe out. I mean, you can really see, let's see here. It might take me a second. And then in this horse you're looking at here too, you see the separation and even the coloring of the foot, you know, see there you're seeing a lot of that separation as well. Let's see, I'm looking for that other foot. Where is it?
This foot we're looking at the moment. How long ago was it trimmed?
We just well, they got the horse like a week ago, and it had been quite a while since he'd been trimmed, and so a lot of leverage on his feet from overgrown feet, and then probably not trimmed correctly either.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, I did a couple that hasn't been done 6 months ago, so.
And it's like their whole hoof capsule's loose. And were they sore-footed?
What, the ones that I did today?
Yeah.
No, they were okay. They were walking oddly, obviously because the feet were so long. But after they were trimmed, they were walking quite fine. You know, obviously they were a better. They could move better. But I mean, I think I might have done a little bit more than I should have. So I think they might have been a little bit tender, but I'm not worried because they're not being ridden or anything. They're in a soft sandy paddock. Because once they've gone into the paddock, they were basically fine. So, I mean, I'm not worried about that because a couple of days they'll be fine, you know?
Yeah. And well, you know, on some of these horses, it's really hard to know how much you can take off if they're already sore. Okay. So see this horse, see how much pressure was on the toe.
Yeah.
See? Right there. The hoof capsule.
What do you think that caused that?
Well, it was definitely foundered. I can show you a picture of what the foot.
Oh, okay, it's founded. I can understand that now. Oh,
yeah, but mostly from leverage from the hoof capsule getting too long.
Yeah.
See, and the person really not knowing how to remove toe.
Yeah, once
one thing
gets long and the lamina gets detached,
let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find a picture of that foot. Just a second. I've got a bunch of pictures of it somewhere. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Here, we can look at the two front feet of that horse. Just a second here. New share. Okay, remembering what that toe looks like there. Okay, this is what the foot looked like.
Okay.
One of them I haven't dissected. Now, and I soaked them to show, look at the what the periopal looks like. And see, this foot I didn't soak like the other one, and you can see what the periopal looks like dry. I thought that was really interesting to see the difference. Because when I'm sorry,
okay,
what?
No, okay. I was just thinking, sorry.
Okay, so this is what it looks like from the side. Definitely rotation in the foot. And you're going to see what the periopal looks like, how thick the periopal looks here.
At the back, yeah.
So you can see the pressure that was on that toe. And look
Yeah.
at the horn tubules, how they go clear up to here. They come down. See, that's what I'm talking about. Once that foot moves in the capsule, then you're trying to grow on the new and grow off the old.
Yeah, you can't really fix the old one, especially in
Yeah.
laminitic cases. You got to grow a new foot, a new
And
capsule for it.
yeah, and so this horse was finally put down because she was so lame. And look at how, see how that looks now. Look at that there.
Yeah. That's where the
See,
pedal burn came through, or made that pressure point.
yeah.
Yeah.
And look at the white line. See
Yeah, there's
how,
a white line stretched and rotten.
yeah, stretched and rotten. So you know that there's a lot of separation.
Yeah, and you can see by that impression of the inner foot how it was squeezing up against the sole,
Yeah.
right there in front of the pedal and the tip of the frog there. I mean,
Yeah.
the tip of the frog is gone, but I mean that area.
See, like I always look at this to know where the direction of the toe is going.
Yeah,
See
and then
that?
you can judge how much rotation has happened.
Yeah. And so the back of the foot is being pulled up like this. The
Yeah,
front of the toe is being pushed down like that. So there was constant pressure on the toe.
yeah.
And it finally just wore it out. And the thickness of the periopal skin, because the periopal skin goes crazy
Yeah,
when you
because it's
have
trying to keep
rotation.
everything together at the back.
Yeah. And this was interesting too, because I saw the periopal is simply tubules. See?
Yeah.
Tubules. Everything on the foot is tubules. The frog is tubules. The
I
horn
suppose it's
is,
like it fits in with your hide, and I suppose the hair is also tubules if you look at that.
yeah. Now this frog is pretty much dead.
Mm-hmm.
See, but the foot was just allowed to be way too long for way too long. Somebody said that the other day. Oh, I think it was the gal that I'm helping now with this other, with the horse we're going to look at, which he said, I just think his foot was allowed to be way too long for way too long.
That's normally the case.
You know, that's your main cause of laminitis. That and trimming the heels out, which creates a different kind of leverage. So
Yeah.
this hoof capsule, it's just a capsule. If it gets
It's a
way too
tube.
long, for way too long, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It pries
It's like
the capsule off the foot, which
yeah,
is what,
it's like when you've got shoes on that's too big for you. I mean,
yeah,
like a clown shoes. I mean, obviously you're going to walk differently, and if you walk normally, you're going to basically have a lot of leverage on the front of the foot
yeah.
the toe.
So I'm pretty sure when I do the dissection on this foot, it'll be interesting to see what's going on with the toe, because this is the other foot.
It's not as
You
bad
know.
as the other one. This one doesn't have as much rotation as the other one.
Yeah, yeah, really doesn't Look at that. You know, but it's also broken through in the bottom.
Yeah.
See, I didn't clean this one up at all like I did the other one.
Yeah, but you notice what the bars are doing as well.
Mm-hmm. And
Well,
look at the
curving
separation in the lamina there.
Yeah, that white line is way too wide.
Yeah.
And that's basically got to breaking point.
Now this other foot, I do not believe is as damaged as this foot.
Yeah, the one where it came through, it's more damaged, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go look at this other foot now.
Okay, dokie.
Let's see here. Let's see. New share. Okay. Okay, so to me, when I see feet with this coloring, I know that they're compromised, that there's a lot of separation in the lamina. It's because it's the whole foot's looking like a big scab. You know what I mean? They get a weird color to them. And if you tap on them, they sound hollow even.
Yeah.
So you can see the separation in the hoof wall here. see how long the heels have been. And so the leverage of pulling that off, and of course there's no frog, so there's no support. And this is about a 13 hand pony. Okay, so you see there's a lot of leverage here pulling on that capsule. But you don't want to come in here and totally trim these heels off. And you can't always take a lot here off either. See, now you see the bend here in the bar wall. That's from the heels getting long and being pulled forward.
Yeah.
Wrenching the hoof capsule off. See, it just looks sore. The whole foot, the whole capsule is like compromised from being way too long for way too long. See, just never, at least they can.
If you look at the growth rings as well.
Yeah.
You see how it really turns down at the back, and it really makes show you where the whole foot's curling down.
Yeah. See, and one foot has a heel clear to here. See, so really a lot of pull from behind I'm seeing here too, which has created this distortion. And then when you have this distortion, it's like, well, what do I trim and where? So you just have to do the best you can to start getting some of the leverages off the capsule. And then my suggestion is you just don't let them run all over the place either. That you want to contain them so that the foot will do some healing and solidify, stabilize, and then you can let them out, but when and this horse was very sore too, walking. You can just see where his capsule's just being pulled off. See, look at how that's just pulled in like this. Plus he had very bad deep central sulcus thrush that wasn't helping him either. So, and like they only had the horse for a week. They bought him from somebody else for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see. Well, we know kind of there. And a very nice little horse too. It just a 13 hand horse. But all of this is from neglect and bad trimming. This in and of itself will cause a horse to have laminitis.
Yeah, well, that's definitely laminitis he's got there. You can see the whole structure of that foot. I mean, the white line, the wall pulling away from the actual sole. That one bent bars and so a complete package. That's basically laminitis.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing is she did trim some off of him, but even that little bit of trimming helped him because this is a little later, a day or so later even.
Yeah.
Just getting any of that. Plus, also at the same time, he was sold, so he's taken away from his buddies, and also his whole food regime got changed.
Yeah.
See, so all of this, you have to remember that when you buy a horse, okay, and of course his feet he wasn't as lame when they first got him as he got, probably because you've taken him away from his friends. He's totally stressed out in a new place, see, and eating new food, so all these things work together to then have a double whammy effect on feet that were already compromised from being way too long for way too long.
Yeah.
See, the stress, all that. So
when a horse stresses, it develops also very quickly, eh?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did some tests, and I mean, within a week, also can develop within a week.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Wow.
They were scoped and they were clear, and they went into a racing yard, and a week later they were scoped and they had ulcers.
Now here
And
you
those ulcers, yeah,
so
those ulcers,
ulcers.
what they do is they actually mess up your hindgut ability to function optimally. And what then happens is there's more toxicity in the hindgut, which then is basically brought down as an inflammation in the laminae, which is then starting your process of laminitis.
Mm-hmm. So they're
So,
just
but
getting
then
it from
happens
every
is,
direction then, aren't they?
yeah, because then that's the metabolic side of it. But now if the
Mm-hmm.
feed's not correct or already in a dicey state, what then happens? It's a double whammy, like you say. So they're getting it from all sides.
Now here we're able, now she did trim him down some in the front feet, but still not quite enough. You can really tell here now in the pictures how much longer the wall is than
Yeah,
the sole, and so why there's so much leverage on the wall, on in the pillars
yeah,
here. Just wrenching and in the heels, all of it working together every time the horse takes a step to wrench the capsule off the foot.
yeah. All that leverages.
And even though this is about 13 handsome pony, but he's a heavier horse and
That's
stuff,
also the
but he's
problem.
still got good big feet, but probably bigger than they should be, but still. And flared, like you were saying, not just probably in the sides as well, all the way
Yeah,
around. See?
yeah.
So with every step, okay, and this is a markup I made for her to bring the toe back, and kind of start getting some things trimmed up. So you'll see the markup that I did on showing her an example what a foot is supposed to look like when everything's tight and right, you know.
But she won't be able to get it like that in that
No,
one
not at
trim, you
all.
know.
And I not at all. And I explained that to her, but I also wanted her to see what
To
a good
visualize what
tight
she's
white
working at, yeah.
line looks like. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Very
Because
important.
some people don't understand what it's supposed to look like. And I was also explaining to her that I didn't do a big, huge bevel. See, I have a lot of wall coming down to support the sole.
Yeah.
Even though, look, there's what it is when you've trimmed and you just have a flat, if flat rasped out, you know what I'm saying? Flat level plane. And then when I bevel, this shows what it looks like when I bevel. Yet when you see the foot like this, it don't look like much of a bevel, does it? See, so I'm keeping a lot of the strength of the wall very near and close to the sole, even though I'm doing a pretty good bevel of the wall roundabout, which is what I'm trying to show people, because the
Yeah.
wall supports the sole. The wall plays the part of a retaining wall to retain the sole. And of course, now you can see my horn tubules are pretty good in alignment, and that's also why I have a tight white line. Okay, but his are not in alignment in the sides, and so that you have all this separation, not only from the wall getting long and pulled out, but also from displaced horn tubules.
Yeah, it's disconnecting from the actual soul.
Yeah. And you can see here, he's had really bad deep central sulcus thrush because he's got scarring clear up into here, into the sensitive tissues. And of course, the back of his foot is pulled down and under. So I had her just do a general kind of mapping on the foot without really measuring, because he is a pony. And really, you don't always necessarily have to measure exactly. And then I was trying to teach her how to bring the toe back across the front here. And I had her do it a little bit more to get the leverage off the toe. And then to then learn how to bring in the sides of the toe here. You know, this E trimming is not all that easy to do with people. You know, okay, now do this, you know, and so they do it and take a picture and send it to you.
Yeah, that's what I do with a lot of people as well.
You know, and so you're trying to, you know,
You
now,
can go a little bit off more there, a little bit more there.
yeah, take off
Touch
a
up in
little
that
more
area.
here. And so then she take a picture. And so now see, this is why it's so important. Now somebody like Riza, he don't need to be taking pictures all the time. He's doing like 300 horses, you know. But when you're doing your own horse and you're learning this, you need to take pictures. So when she sends me this picture and I look at it, the first thing I see is, okay, now we have to deal with the pillars and bringing them down. So, you know, what's that supposed to look like? A person doesn't understand what they're looking at. So I send her a picture of my horse's toe so you can kind of see how the wall is supposed to follow the shape of the foot. See? Okay, so we're looking at this and still see how the wall is above right there? And what you'll notice is that you tend to naturally take more here than you do here. Consequently, a person is always leaving this side high, and that's where it winds up being like what we're going to see here. Let me back up to where you look at this foot from the front. See that? See how much that's flared out and wider? You know, that's because it's natural for everybody to take more off this side and leave more here. Do you understand? It's body mechanics.
Yeah, it's probably the way they stand underneath the horse.
Yeah, because it's difficult to stand under the horse and be level everywhere, you know? Oops.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay. Let me go. Just a second here. Okay, let's keep going here. So now I'm just trying to get her to start taking this down and rounding it off. See, ultimately, you kind of want it shaped like the sole. In this case, it doesn't look like the sole is, in and of itself, is totally stretched. Pretty much the wall stretched away from the sole. So
Yeah,
we're kind of following. See how she naturally leaves it longer there? This is something people do. We all do it. And we'll also trim this heel differently. You know, you can get them the same length right here, but you wind up taking this area here more down than you do here.
And that's where the problems is.
Yeah, and so this starts creating slowly these issues. Imbalance issues. Say she naturally takes this all down more than this side. That's why you take pictures.
Yeah, you probably, that's when they push with the hand that way, it's easier. But to come the other way, it's not a natural movement, because it's like, I suppose if you're left-handed, it's easier for you that way then.
Yep, exactly. You know, see what I do over here, I turn the rasp around and pull it towards me. And plus I take pictures. See, pictures.
So, I mean, I did a horse, yesterday, yesterday. And something just didn't look right to me. So I thought, wait, let me take a picture. And after I took a picture, I said, oh, but that's my problem. I left that a little bit long, and I just went in with a rasp and took it off.
Yeah, well, see, good for you. You're seeing something. I'm doing something here. And so this is the benefit of taking these pictures. You really see how you're going to trim if you know what the foot is supposed to look like to begin with. You know, like here you can tell she's trimming this whole side different than this side. And so
the one side, I'd say that the medial side she's done okay, where the other side she's left a little bit long.
Yeah, and And of course, then that side, and whoever trimmed that horse forever, how long also did that. See? So
Yeah, so the whole foot just goes cockeyed.
yeah, and look here, you can see there's way more separation in this side of the toe than in this side.
Yeah,
And
because that's the longer part and it's moving outward.
yeah, so more stretching. Okay, so now, and still left this
Yeah.
area long. See it?
Yeah, and it will still keep on moving forward and outwards if we leave it long.
Yeah. And this heel will be being pulled forward as well.
Yeah.
See, and looking at this now, I'm
Yeah,
going to go back and look at my stuff and see.
Now look at that where you made the red mark, okay? Because that heel is moving forward and outward as well.
Yeah, being pushed
But
out.
now, then look at the bar, and you'll see that bar is also curling.
Yeah,
and that curl also, it's almost like it's bending, and at that point, it's also pushing to that same side where that the wall is pushing outwards.
Yep.
So you got to straighten. Yeah, you got to straighten that bar up so that wall can get a chance to move back.
Yeah. Let's see. So I was trying to tell her to take that more down there, and take some of that down more. But she didn't get to the bars because by the time she was done, he was trying to bite her. So he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, his feet are sore, And so it's pretty funny listening to her describe it. Well, he's laying on me, he's jerking his foot away and rearing up and trying to bite me now. So,
he's telling you something.
Yeah,
it's enough now.
He just tomorrow. Well, you can tell I have a video of him. He's sore on all 4 feet, but he's not doing the laminitis walk, which is totally different. You know the laminitis walk where they put their lean back legs. Yeah, he's not doing that at all. I might show that video. And remember, they've had the horse for a week. He was lame when they got him. Okay. So this is not a situation where, the horse is being abused. No, they're trying to do some stuff here to help the horse. So now here you can really see the separation in here, and you're starting to see where the sole is too. But you can really see that stretched white line in there.
Yeah.
Even greater. And you can see a little bit of blood in the white line. And okay, this I'm just trying to kind of show her by kind of what it ought to kind of look like there. So she did pretty good there. See?
Not a bad job, bro.
Not too bad. Got to round off these here.
Yeah. Blend them in.
Yeah. But see, still, you can still see wall above the sole right there. See?
So, when she's done a trim like this on a sauce like this, it would have been nice if she had some dental impression material and the costs to wrap it to give them a bit more comfort.
She's ordering some.
Okay.
But I figured it would be good. They aren't coming till the 28th. So what I told her was, as much as possible, keep the horse from moving around a lot and take off some of the leverage on the feet. Just so, I thought that would help. What do you think?
Yeah, that definitely helps. And we take the leverage of the feet and everything. But also in saying that, because that foot has been stretched out and in all sorts of directions, what will happen is, and when you take all the leverages off, it will probably be a little bit short, and the horse might be a little bit tender-footed. So that's why I said a good idea would have been at this stage to just slap the dental impression material and the cast around it, just to give it a little bit more comfort, and that helps.
And she doesn't have that, but she is ordering it, and she's got some boots she's going to try and put on him.
Yeah, but if he's in a soft sandy paddock, it should be okay.
Yeah. Well, he's in a stall right now because her
Oh,
paddock
oh, oh.
is hard with lots of rocks.
Yeah, no, no,
And
they're gonna help.
yeah, I didn't think he needed to be walking around in that.
No, no, no.
So
Even with the boot on, it will still have
yeah,
lumps and
it's
pushing up
still
against the boot.
wrenching on his hoof capsule.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, when you have an injury, and this is like a wound because it's affecting the flesh on the foot,
Yeah.
then you really need to hold still as much as
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
possible, not
Yeah,
be moving
exactly.
it around, you know, and
Minimal movement.
yeah, minimal movement. So just having a heck of a time with that corner. But she did great, you know, she did great because it was not easy, it was hot, and the horse did not want to stand and blah blah blah. So you say, so this is what it looked like when it was done. And to me, still, there's quite a bit of leverage on the toe, but
Yes.
it's better than it was because
Yeah,
these
for
heels
sure.
were clear up here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
find you. Oh well, I I have other pictures here. Just a minute. We don't want to take off too much more because you know. Then I just showed her an example here of sharing how the same deal's going on here. The separation in the sides of the toe, and reminding people that horses' feet are not round. And one of the hardest things to do correctly is to start trimming these pillars correctly, because when they get long and forward, they start to flare out and pull away from the foot.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting this area figured out in a trim. How to lower that, how to trim that is that's been one of the really difficult areas for me, which I finally think I've got it. And here's the thing, when you first start doing it, you're dealing with distorted, deformed pillars to begin with. So anyway, this is a hind foot, but you can see how deformed he is in the pillars, how that's just a big lever pulling on his hoof capsule. Okay, here. So here you see an example. Of his foot before and after. Again, this is not a perfect trim, and I don't even know if you can do a perfect trim on these feet because everything's
You've
so
got to work
just
with what you've got. Yeah, you've got to work with what you've got
yeah,
and correct what you can at the time. I mean, you can't correct everything in one go.
yeah, you can't, you know. And so she took off some. I think it's going to help. There's some other areas that maybe could be taken off to get a little more leverage off. Either way, the whole foot's going to move. He's going to be sore. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
when it moves, it's going to move in a week, within this week, and he's going to feel a little bit more tender.
yeah. So I just want to enlarge this so you can see. Let's look at some here. Let me annotate. See, trying to get the foot more in alignment, the capsule more in alignment, and some of the leverages off that have developed that are pulling the capsule off the foot. So you know, I'm going to tell you that I don't have fun doing this. Okay. It's no fun to try and help people do this. Because you're dealing with imperfect feet and you got to do an imperfect trim and everything. There's healing that has to take place, and maybe the people don't have any support for the horse. I mean, you're just doing the best you can, you
Yeah,
know.
like
But
like I did with that horse of Mary Jane that we did. When every Wednesday she used to call me and used to do pictures and markups and let her trim during the during the meeting, and then sending pictures, and I'd tell a little bit of here, a little bit there, do that, and eventually, it's like a every week thing. We did every week, so we don't
yeah,
do too much at one time, because I was
yeah,
also had laminitis, and the whole foot was deformed, and I mean the foot came out quite nice,
yeah.
and
Well,
I believe
good.
she's fighting worse.
You know, see, that's good. Now, see, this is his foot, so everything's wrong. You
Yeah,
understand? The heels aren't in the right place. Look at this horn tubule. It's right here.
Yeah, it's way longer than it should be.
Yeah, it's supposed to be right here. See there? That's
Yeah.
where it's supposed to be. Just a minute here.
It's a lot longer than it should be.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
But
So,
you can't just go and cut it off till there. It doesn't work. You got to wait for it to move and then do it again, and
yeah.
wait for it to move and do it again.
So this is what's interesting. So this is actually the quarter right here.
Yeah.
And it's actually supposed to be
Further
right
back.
here,
Yeah.
right there. Okay. But we were able to move it a little bit, change some of the leverage that's going on. I need to change my thing there. Just a minute here. Clear all drawing. So you got it clear up here. Look at where the weight bearing is there.
Completely wrong. It's shifting.
Yeah.
It goes backwards.
Okay, so now
This
it's
is laying back.
changed a little bit with the trim.
We've moved the weight further.
Moved it a
more
little further
balanced.
back.
Yeah.
Say, little this I'm not sure about that, but and the heel here a little bit back right to there.
Yeah.
You know, to where here it's kind of
Sloping
up.
underneath.
Yeah. So see, trying to get all this has to regrow and move, and then internal healing has to go on too.
Yeah.
Which yeah. And another thing too, she told me it was so dark in that barn she couldn't see anything, but she did pretty good for not being able to see. So
She needs a headlamp.
so you know, if not us, who, huh? I don't know, but anyway,
You do know.
so today she was supposed to do the other foot, which she did, and she said that she felt like his tendon was a little swollen on this foot, on this leg. So you know, standing wrong, or just the fact that he was walking around yesterday, that could be from anything, you know. So what do you do? What do? You do as good as you can to get them started in the right direction, so that they can heal up. There's no perfect answer always. Let's see, where am I at now? Okay, hold on here. Just a second. Okay, just a second here, and I will start screen sharing again. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can really see where you see the hoof capsule is just so being pulled and wrenched off the foot. This is the other foot that she worked on a little bit today. So anyway, pretty long heels, you know, with a lot of leverage, kind of pulling that forward on that foot. And anyway, there's my horse again. Anyway, so there you go. There's an example. Let me see. This is the horse right here. He's like 15 years old. And huh?
It's a little guy.
Yeah, he's only about 13 hands. He was used as a lesson horse. And anyway, but I've seen way worse than what's going on with him. And if anything, he was sold and caught just in time for somebody to start helping him because he was on the road to death, you know.
Yeah. He
And
was on death row.
yeah, and you notice the difference in his feet between his feet and the ones I showed you, that his feet, you don't see any breaking through the sole like you did in those other feet. See,
Yeah.
he hasn't got half as bad a situation going on. What this is the right front, and this is like before she did a little. Well, you can see. This is like I don't know if she had a picture of that's after. That's before. Anyway, even before I helped her, she had tried to help him a little, you know,
Yeah.
there. So he could definitely be in much worse shape. You don't see him breaking through. I mean, you can see here how awful his feet were. Look at the heel.
Yeah.
See, that's just being pulled off.
The
And
whole
stuff
heel is
like
just
that.
moving forward. You can see.
Yeah.
Got
So
still those little bars off.
yeah. So, you know, anyway, so he was caught just in time, probably because he was really headed in a very bad direction. So, anyway, okay. So, let's see. Share. Okay, so anyway, I just want to show you the sole on this horse again. Okay, see how it's broken through there and see the difference in the white line. Now he had white line separation, but he did not have this type of deal going on. This is laminar wedge. He has white.
What you're seeing, Linda.
Oh, sorry. Share. Okay. This is that horse that where the toe was worn out and definite founder and rotation. He does not have this yet.
No.
So, and the lamina is way different. He's got a very stretched, separated white line, but he does not have this.
Yeah, in his case, what say probably I would say as a saving grace is that his feet's quite long.
Yeah.
So so I think I suppose you can take a little bit more off at a later stage when he feels a bit better.
Yeah.
But I mean, I suppose let it stabilize now, should be fine.
Yeah. So
Hey,
anyway,
Linda,
yeah.
in the picture that you have on the screen now, in the toe, is that the rubberized serum-y type stuff you were talking about before? Can you tell?
Well, this right here would be some of that. It's the white line that has well, it's the lamina from the hoof capsule. And yeah, I would imagine that some of this is that same
Now,
stuff.
what about above where your arrow is? That sort of half moony shaped thing there that's sticking out.
This?
Yeah, that ridge right to the bottom of where your cursor is, right there. That ridge, that darker color.
You know,
yeah, that.
I do think that that's lamina, combination of lamina and sole, and yeah,
Okay.
I do think that is that. You know, it's been a while since I did that foot, so I don't know if I really looked at that. I mostly took pictures of it. But yeah, that looks like that would be that laminar serum because it's different than the sole. Let's look at it. It's different than the sole. We can see the sole and we can see the lamina. So yeah, that's white line. That's how
So
thick it is.
if you were trimming that foot, would you take that ridge to the level of the sole and work it into where you trimmed the wall? Does my question make sense?
Can you say that again?
Okay, where that ridge is that we were just talking about. If you were going to trim that foot, would
Yeah.
you work that ridge to the level of the sole? Like you would trim a bar down to the level of the sole? Would you do the ridge like that?
Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't know what the heck I'd do with that foot.
Okay.
Okay. Because of what I know now and know what happened to what was going on with the toe, I'm not sure. I just don't even know what the right thing to do with that foot would be. I mean, let's go back here. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I got that in here. Just a second. Okay. Here we go. See, first of all, I wouldn't know this was going on. See that? How rotten it is? See there? What's really going on in that foot? I'm not sure what you would do. I don't know. I can't say. I have not got the answers for all these laminatic feet. Okay.
I'm trying to look inside that hoof capsule, the dried out, the blood-free one, to see whether or not the ridge at the bottom of that matches that ridge that was on
Yeah.
top of it. Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I need to study that foot more. I mean, I dissected it and stuff, and I was getting all into the dissections, and then just a bunch of life stuff hit, and I just haven't had time to do any more or look at them any closer. You know.
Yeah, it's fascinating just whenever you look at inside, outside, and every ramification.
Yeah. And so then it's like, well, what do you do? You know, do you understand? I don't know. I'd have to have the foot in hand, and I'd have to know this was going on. Now I wouldn't even have known this was happening inside that horse's foot. You know, I don't know if it would have showed up on an x-ray either. You know, how to grow that old capsule off and grow the new one on, or maybe it was because they didn't trim enough off that this even happened to begin with. You know, I don't know. I just don't have all the answers. And you know, if you were forced to, you would try and help the horse, you know, and try and trim them. But obviously, now I'm trying to remember whose foot this is, who I got it from. I can't remember which. I had two people sending me feet, and I can't remember which one this was. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what I do. I do know that I would know because I've had other dissections where they break through like that the toe is in a completely different place than what you thought, because they've done that. So you got a bunch of dead stuff going on in the toe and stuff. So I don't know.
That's how I don't ever understand how farriers get the nerve to cut the toes off of laminated horses like they do.
Well,
you know, they'll just take a saw to them or something, you know, without x-rays, and it just freaks me out that they do that.
Yeah. Now, in that case, I know where the toe is. So I could, if a hoof was way grown out, I could chop that off, and I could take this off too. But as far as trimming this horse to make everything grow back together the right way and heal up that toe, I'm just not sure. Now, I was probably a lot more confident before I did this dissection Do you understand? But when I did the dissection, I was like, holy Hannah, you know, I'll send you to somebody else. No. Sorry,
Yeah, but see, I think that's a good thing.
you know. Yeah, I suppose it is, rather than being all confident and then they just keep doing the same thing over
Yeah,
and
well,
over.
that's how we got here, right?
Yeah, you know. So let me do a new share here. So, but
Linda,
learning, yeah,
I just sent you some pictures quickly. I mean, I don't know if you want to have a look at
okay,
it on Messenger.
okay. Just a second here. Oh, okay. Now here's is it the here's a horse that Riza did that would have had this horse would have had the same thing at one point. Okay, this is awesome. Boy, this is really you can really see this second here, new share. Okay. So why don't you explain what's going on here, Riza?
Okay. Yeah, this is a pony that's got laminitis. It's a mini, little guy, and the picture on the right hand side is the picture that's more the time that I wouldn't say started, but I think it was well into its rehabilitation already. But you can see the size of the foot, how it's actually gotten bigger backwards, and how
Yeah.
narrower that
Oh,
white
yeah.
line has gotten. You can
Yeah.
see. So you can see exactly how much, you can see the width of that white line. I mean, you can see how much it's stretched. There's redness in there, obviously blood and serum, the yellowness that we were talking about around the sole and the actual lamina in the white line.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
see,
You can see this back here. His foot has gotten bigger.
yeah,
It just, yeah, it looks really good. See,
yeah,
and how much of that has gone away? I mean, look at that. That's a lot of laminar wedge there.
yeah, definitely. It's
You know,
huge. It was huge.
so this horse that we're looking at that had the really bad toe, okay, that broke out. Actually, she broke out right here.
Yeah,
Okay, but
luckily she didn't go through because the feet were quite long, so it was just more pressure than anything else.
yeah,
And I had to take a lot of that toe off to basically, and some of that heel because she was like it was a very tall foot,
mm-hmm.
I think I showed that picture of that feet before. So yeah, you can see clearly how much separation, how much that white line has basically stretched,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
and the yellow
yeah,
serum that has been running in there with blood and stuff like that.
yeah, and see how yellow it is too,
Yeah,
and with the blood and everything. Well, that looks really great. So like on that foot, would you have started cleaning that toe up?
I had to because the feet was just way too long and curved and it was basically a mess and the horse couldn't walk properly. So I started by cleaning up the toe quite a bit and just, I mean, we left him quite tall still because we didn't want to take too much off at one time,
Uh-huh.
and over time the whole foot started changing and we basically did a lot of bar work on his bars, trying to get the foot to kind of relax in the back and trying to grow off the bad hoof capsule to get the new one to start growing. But the foot rotated quite a bit, so it took a bit of time. But you can see even in the latest picture, I don't think that's the latest picture, but you can see how much that the white line has actually become more narrower, and
Narrower, yeah.
the inflammation in it has also gone. So
Yeah.
it was a slow process, but it's still a ongoing process. This pony, in fact, has a bit of, I think he's suffering from Cushing's. So it's
Okay.
like a little bit of we the owner's got to keep him on a, I don't know, type of medication to just regulate his hormones, because if it goes out of whack, then he wants to rotate again. But I mean,
Yeah.
luckily it's not too bad. So we just trying to keep him as calm. But I mean, he couldn't walk when we started with him, and now he's running all over the place. So we must be doing something right.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Well, that's awesome. Well, I can tell the difference because I have had a lot of experience with laminar wedges, thanks
Yeah.
to my pony.
Yeah.
You know,
So yeah, I didn't try and just trim the wedge out. I was trying to just get the foot. My whole aim was actually to try and get the back of that foot to drop back into the capsule, or to grow the capsule big enough so the back of the foot could actually fit in there.
yeah.
And by doing that, you basically not shove, but allow the actual coffin bone to start derotating, if you can call it anything like
Okay,
that.
yeah, that
You
makes
know,
sense.
so it becomes more connected to your dorsal wall
Mhm.
without pushing your dorsal wall back.
So then, okay, so then let's look at this foot. I'm gonna ask you, what would you do with this foot? I'll put the pressure on you. Let's ask Riza. See, I told somebody to. I said, whenever I'm afraid to handle something, I'll just shove them your way. So if things don't work out, it's your fault. See, that Riza,
His fault.
it's his fault. Let's see here. Now I've lost the. Just a second here. I've lost the. Okay, let's see. New share. Let's see. Okay. So here's the foot, and we'll just kind of go through it here till we come to the bottom. Mostly, I was taking pictures. I was impressed with the periopal on this foot.
Yeah, it's gone white, eh?
So that's why I was taking the pictures the way I was taking them. And look at all the little tubules. See?
Yeah.
Little hairs. And
It like all flows into the hard wall as well.
yeah, and it was so thick back here. So
There you can see really. You can really
yeah,
see the back end of it, how thick it is, and it's like a thick rubber band type of thickness.
yeah. So now we look at the bottom here in a minute and see how dead it looks. See, well, there's both feet, but see?
Yeah.
So that foot that you just showed us, this foot would have been like that at one time.
Yeah, before it came through.
Yeah, before it all went dead and fell through. And so now you're dealing with, well, you saw the underfoot, what it looked like.
Yeah.
The whole toe is dead and worn off.
Yeah.
See, so I mean, you can't just look at the bottom and tell how much you take off, but you can look at the side. Let me go back here.
What I normally do is I look at the horn tubules, and I can see how much it's bent and where it's bent.
Okay, like here.
Yeah, you'll see how it starts bending from there. Okay, so you can't take it off from there. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, just like.
Yeah. So you if you look at this foot, I mean, you look down from the hairline down to where the periopal is still visible, like in a dark color. No, if you go right to the dorsal wall, the front.
Right in here.
And then go right to the front of the foot, the outline of the front of the foot.
Maybe start taking this like right here until you can come to something fresh. Or
I just want to say something quickly. If you take from the hairline in the dorsal wall and you go down, more, right from there. Stop, a little bit up, a little bit higher. You can see from there it starts deviating forward.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you follow that line straight down, from there straight down.
Right there.
Yeah.
Let me get a thing here. Just hold on. Okay, so right about here.
Yeah, we go straight down like that. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you look at that foot like that, then that is where your wall should now, your new wall is going to be growing because of the position of your coffin bone in that foot.
Mm-hmm. And we've
Okay.
seen that from the bottom that it's broken
Yeah, it's broken right there
right
because
there.
everything in front of that is basically dead stuff.
Dead stuff.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
basically dead stuff. You can get away with taking a lot of it away, but you don't want to
Okay.
do it once as well because you don't want to weaken the whole structure as well because it's a unit, you know.
Okay.
You
See
see
how
how
that?
that works?
Yeah.
Now, if you take the horn tubule just a little bit back to the red one, you can see it's about if I judge it, it's about an inch. You can see it's a little white horn tubule. And then that one, you were on it.
Oh, wait a minute. Redo. Oh, I lost it. Sorry.
Not a problem.
Okay. So
A little bit more forward. That line should be a little bit more forward.
this should be a little more forward.
No, at the bottom. At the bottom. If you move
Here?
it a little, yeah, move it a little forward. A little
Okay.
forward.
This doesn't move. Just a second.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not like paint. In paint, you can, move
And
them.
then move it.
Yeah. Oops. Just a minute here. Okay. So, like forward a little like that.
A little bit more. There. That's fine. That's fine. That's perfectly
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
That's
So
perfectly
technically, your wall should be more like that because
Yes,
you got your
yes.
thickness of the wall.
For this foot at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we're not
So
going to take everything in the toe away. That's the other thing as well. We're not going to take everything in the toe away as well.
okay. So
So
maybe just from here, kind of.
Yeah. Probably take that part away. Yeah.
Okay.
And you probably we're going to take a little bit down as well on the wall itself. We're not going to try and dig into the sole.
Okay.
I mean, if you look from the bottom.
Okay.
Unless we. Now, if you take the tubule, let's say from your second red line, it's about on your, I'd say about an inch on your picture.
About
If you
here?
go back towards the heel, yeah, take it. No, sorry. No, don't make a line. I'm just wanting to move your cursor back to about an inch, a little bit more than an inch. Back
here?
No, further back. More.
It's not working now. Back here?
No, more. A little bit more. Another one. The same amount that you move, a little bit more back. There, right there on the line. There you got it. Now that one, look at that one tubule, how it's curving up.
Okay, right here.
Yeah.
Right here, I see it. It curves.
Yeah. You see how it curves? So it's got the same type of curve that the front one has.
Yeah, it goes like this.
Yes, it curves.
Okay.
Quite a bit. So that would probably be more of your quarter heel area because your heel is now shoved forward as well. So that would be more of your heel type of area.
Okay, it should be ending more here than up here. And so that's creating a lot of leverage right there on everything, pushing everything up that way.
Everything forward, yeah. Because now what's going to happen is going to put more weight on that heel as well. So it's going to shove everything forward. So you got to lower and bring that heel slightly back. I wouldn't take too much off that heel anyway.
Yeah.
And the first go. So I would try and take the leverage of the toe as much as possible. I mean, lengthwise from hairline to weight bearing edge. And basically try and bring his breakover back as well, so to create easier breakover where there's not too much leverage as well, without trying to compromise the sole, which is already compromised.
Yeah, for real. And then, so are you going to take this area kind of straight and with the bevel maybe?
Down. Yes, I will take a little bit of that down. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just so you could create a better platform or a more even, I would say, taking some of the leverage of that area. So when he puts his foot down and puts the weight on it, it's not going to push forward more. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You're trying to take the leverage of the toe of pulling forward, and you're also trying to take the leverage of the pushing from the back forward as well.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not going to look like that exactly, but I mean he's going to have a much as a closer look to that you've just drawn on there now.
Uh-huh.
And then I will look at the quality of the sole and see if what is actually going on in there. And I mean, if need be, I would cast him with a dental impression material to just give him a bit more comfort, because I mean that does help them with a bit more comfort levels.
Okay.
And then
I was going to ask you something too, of something I've been thinking about, and seeing how these horses rotate and stuff like that, and how the internal toe is pulled back. And I was thinking about what if people were take an even harder substance to put in the sole in front of the true apex of the frog, because
the problem with that is, I mean, you're going to create a lot of pressure on the actual bone, because you see what's happening is your lamina is not holding your coffin bone tightly connected to your wall, so there's a lot more movement there in that area. So what you see, that the other thing that must also take into account is that your actual deep digital flexure tendon, the strongest tendon in that leg, is attached to the bottom side, the lunar crest of the bottom side of the coffin bone. So there's going to be a lot of pull on that, because the structure in front is also weak. So basically the tendon will start pulling the bone down in front as it's rotating. So you don't want to actually take too much of the heel off to basically, a lot of people, what I've seen a lot of farriers do or recommend, and I said to them, you're going the wrong way about it. They say because the pedal bone is rotated, they want to rotate it back. So they cut the heel off to try and flip it up the other way. I said that doesn't work, because you're forgetting that the tendon that is attached to the pedal bone is going to just have a stronger pull now and start pulling further down. So you're doing counterproductive stuff. So you're going to try and keep the heel as much as possible intact, because the body did that to save the pedal bone from stress being pulled down by the tendon. So that's another thing that you should take an account of as well. So that's why I like to pack the whole back of that foot and
pack the whole back of the foot.
Yeah. So when he does put weight on the foot, instead of just having it on the wall, it will be spread across the whole bottom of that foot. So when it's straight,
I see what you're saying. Plus, you've got the shoe on, so that's helping support.
The foot.
See, I was thinking of the support in this area here.
That's what I'm saying. That's where you see what happens is because you're going to take a lot of leverage off in the toe and stuff like that. So what's going to happen? It's also going to bring stuff back. So now what's going to happen is you're going to minimize the pressure. In fact, there, because if you look at a laminitic horse, when they walk, they tend to flip the toe up and trying to land more on the back end of the foot. So they're already trying to help themselves by doing that. So, but if they don't have any support at the back, everything can still slide down. So that's why we support that whole area. I mean, I basically support the whole foot, the whole underside of the foot, with either with a shoe or a cast. And I mean, I'll leave the cast on for 2 weeks or even more, and we'll keep the horse comfortable. So things start settling down. And once starts settling down and stuff starts basically stabilizing, then you can start doing a little bit more.
Because this lamina in here too, even though it starts, that picture that we showed of that pony, it shows it soft and kind of bloody and red. It will also harden up.
Yes,
and get really hard.
It gets very hard. I mean, that pony is the one that I showed you. That part is actually very hard. the one that
Uh-huh.
I've seen the picture. It's actually at that stage when I took those pictures, it was very hard.
Reza, on that pony, did you cast that foot?
Yes, I didn't look. I cast it once, but I didn't cast again because his feet were. I mean, I don't have a picture of it if I can find it, but I took it off. But it was actually quite like a very long foot, like a canned foot, if you can call it that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. So, I mean, for me to have cast at that point, it would have been counterproductive because then what I would have done is I would have just supported. I wouldn't have supported anything much because being a canned foot like that, everything is like centered onto the little stub that it's got. So basically, I was waiting for a situation where I could take more off and then cast it and support what I've taken off. In fact, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you just don't want to just slap something on for no reason. I like to, once I've done something and I see the horse needs support, I will cast and I'll put the dental impression material to increase comfort level so he can move a bit more, and then basically get a little bit more blood flow through the feet and basically heal himself in that way.
So you didn't cast that pony's foot. You trimmed it and let him be barefoot. Am I correct?
Yes, he was
Okay.
barefoot all the time.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, he was on a softish terrain. We cast him afterwards once because I just needed at certain points I just needed some support for him at the back. But I mean, I didn't even think he needed the cast. to be honest on this foot. But I mean, the other foot that Linda showed, I would definitely cast that foot.
Yeah, that foot was a mess. Oh, and
Yeah.
the other horse too, right?
Which one? The one that you showed that you were working on now?
Yeah.
That one, after the trim, I would have cast that foot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you have waited till you got the cast to do the foot?
Well, I think what you've done there is fine if he's on soft ground, and then that's fine. I wouldn't have bothered too much if it was a harder ground, and I would definitely have put the cast on straight away. I
Okay.
would have actually waited to trim for the cast to arrive before I would have trimmed anything off the foot. If I knew the terrain that he's going to be going on is going to be quite harsh, then I definitely wouldn't have trimmed before I got the cast in hand.
Okay, because see, she said she wasn't getting the cast till the 28th.
Oh gosh,
Why they can't
weeks.
send them before that, I don't know, but
Shipping issues.
I guess so. And
Yeah.
stuff. And so I just thought it would be better to take a little bit of the leverage off.
Leverage it off. You did the right thing. No, that's obviously the right thing. I mean, clearly you can't wait for the cast to come if the horse needs some help now,
Mhm.
But
And
I mean,
she's going to get the dental impression material too.
yeah, that helps a lot. That
Yeah.
definitely helps a lot because it basically forms a nice rubber pad under the foot and it gives a lot of support to the whole foot,
Yeah.
and basically helps spread the weight of the horse across the whole foot,
Yeah.
not just on the dorsal wall. So it
Yeah.
basically helps the whole foot share weight. And I mean, look, what they used to do in I would not, if I would call it the old days.
The old days.
when the horse used to have laminitis or suffers a bout of laminitis, they used to strap something underneath its frog right up to the past the apex and just put a bandage around it, and just so to basically stabilize the frog and area, which I mean helped, but I mean that wasn't the right thing to do because they forget that the bars and centrals, the sulci on either side, that also the collateral grooves also need support and spread the weight further over the back of that foot instead of just the frog. So a lot of the remedies they were using then was like a hard bar shoe which just supports the frog.
Uh-huh.
which was quite crazy because I didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I think if you were gonna do something, then you gotta actually spread the weight across as much area of that back of that foot as possible. I mean, obviously you want to stay away from leverages in the toe and then in pillars areas, because that's where you're going to get the most of the leverages. But if you just take, what I used to do is I used to take a shoe. When I used to shoe some of them, I used to take the shoe and bevel it out from pillar to pillar across the toe. So when the shoe is on the foot, it basically just makes contact from the, I'd say, just behind the pillars to the heel. And then I would have it's almost like a material, like a netting underneath the shoe, and
Uh-huh.
put the Vitic pouring padding in to cover that whole area. But the actual toe pillars and toe was basically clear from any interference, like any pressure or any pressure from the ground, or even pressure when there was a standing. So there's nothing in that area putting any weight in that area.
Okay.
So basically then you put a wide bar shoe on as well to basically stop any ground pressure going up, from the ground up. So whatever pressure is coming down is from the horse itself. So you're minimizing a lot of things like that. But even in saying that, the padding that was put in creates like a soft padding. So it takes up a lot of concussion and also helps spreads the weight across the whole of that foot. But then leaving that toe and pillar area completely untouched, unladen from any weight bearing. So that kind of helped as well.
Okay. That makes sense.
Linda,
Yeah.
hi, this is Lisa.
Hi.
Hi. I have just sent you a picture on Messenger.
Okay.
And if you remember, about 2 weeks ago in the Hoof chat, I was talking about this German farrier who puts in this, well, it's like similar to dental impression material in the
Uh-huh.
top of the foot to support it with the laminitis. So I just wanted to ask maybe if you can show this photo I sent you, and maybe
Okay.
Risa can say something if that's sort of something
Yeah,
he would think is good.
I'm waiting for it. I haven't got it yet. It's going to take a
Okay.
minute probably.
Is it correct? I sent it to your personal messenger
Yeah,
address. Yeah.
should be. Just a second.
Okay. And they put it into yeah, they leave out the rim of the coughing bone, and they just put it in the back to support, like Risa was just talking about. So if you get it, maybe you can show it, so Risa can say something about it, if it's good or not.
It hasn't come through yet.
Okay, I will just check again because I think it has been sent. Okay, maybe you will see it. I don't want to hold you up. Maybe you will see it in a couple of minutes or so.
Okay.
I sent it
We'll
about
wait a second and see. It'll probably come through.
Yeah. Okay, just continue.
Did you send it from your phone?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes, I did send it from my
Okay.
phone.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a bit for
Okay.
them to actually come through.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to hold you up, so just continue and maybe you will see it a bit later.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Linda.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for that to come through, so anyway, I got to name my files something this or that or other. I run out of names for files, but thanks, Leah. So earlier when we were talking about why do they call it a toe callus? They call it a toe callus because they didn't know that the that the foot had the convex sole ridge. They only thought it was concave. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, so I told you that they're mistaken about the anatomy, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple things here. First of all, not my dissection. All right, this is on a popular person's page. And they should have been looking at this wild horse hoof they got a little more, because then maybe they wouldn't have been trimming the heels out of everything. But just a minute here. Let me share. New share screen. So I just wanted to show you. Okay, so we know that this was a good foot. We are for sure on that. Okay, now I want to show you the internal foot now. Okay, now you see, here's the coronary band up here. Here's the lamina. And before you ever get to the bottom of the foot, what do you see? You see sole corium. Is not that correct? Is there any mistaken of that at all? No. And when he lets go of the sole here, the lamina of the foot sinks back down, and you will see that there is a convex ridge of sole on this foot around the perimeter of the foot. So the foot grows a nice convex thick ridge of sole. But they think, when I'm going to show you pictures of what they think the sole looks like and what they think the anatomy looks like, that they've thought for hundreds of years and still think. And so if you think that's not supposed to be there, you're going to carve it out, because they're taught to carve it out. And if you see one there, you're not going to know what it is. And so you're going to have to name it something. So, oh, it must be a callus. Okay, so now I'm going to look. Let's see here. Just a second. Let me go to a different deal here. Hold on. Let me close this. Okay, we're going to get over here to what I call bad anatomy. Oh, okay. Bad anatomy. Okay, so just a second here. Okay, I'm going to start showing you pictures of how they depict the foot. Okay, like right here. Here we go, the anatomy and physiology of the horse's foot. This is Life Data Labs. Okay, here's what they show the foot looks like. Notice that they show whatever the lamina is going to the very bottom of the foot, and how do they depict what the sole looks like? See there? Okay. Here we go. Here's another one. They're showing this is what the foot, where do you see the lamina going all the way to the bottom of the foot, right? All the way to the bottom. But we know that that is not how it looks. Consequently, if it did go all the way to here, then you could say, okay, this sole only grows from underneath here. And since that's kind of concave shape, then the sole is only concave. Okay, here we go. Here again, shows the lamina going all the way to the bottom of the foot. Oh, this is veterinarian key. This is what they teach the vets. Shows the lamina going all the way to the bottom of the foot. Let's go on. Okay, but here's our one foot. Here's a bunch of feet that show that the sole corium lips up over the outer part of the foot. See? See, sole corium. Lamina does not go all the way to the bottom of the foot. Sole corium lips up over the outer edge. That grows a convex ridge of sole on the foot. Here we go. Here's more drawings. Okay, what do they show here? On this foot, the lamina goes all the way to the very bottom. And so they will always show a convex or a concave sole, which the sole, here we go. Here's another one. What do they show in the picture? They show the lamina going all the way to the very bottom. Hence, the sole would only grow on what they have drawn as a concave part. See, so the farrier comes along and he carves all this out to make it concave. Now, there's more reasons why he drew a picture of the sole, which actually shows the convex ridge. So, see, there's confusion there. Here's the most recent modern depiction of the inner foot of the horse. Again, the lamina goes where? All the way to the bottom of the foot. Therefore, in their thinking, the sole corium that grows the sole is only on the very, very bottom. So it grows a convex sole, but this is not the true anatomy of the sole. Let's see here. Here we go. Now, why is it that why don't they have like a picture of a real foot? This would be the Farrier's Bible. This book here, Adams and Stashik's Lameness in Horses. This is like, woohoo. This is like the Farrier end all. Why is it that they have a picture? Why can't they show the picture of a real foot? Okay? If they want to point out all the different parts of the foot, right? Look at the foot again. The lamina goes all the way to the very edge. And how are they going to show the sole as only concave with no convex ridge of sole around the whole thing? See? Why? Here we go. Pretty much the same. Lamina all the way to the end of the foot. Why pictures? I mean, why drawings? Nothing but drawings. Why not some pictures? Here we go. Here's another one. What do they show the lamina? From the coronary band all the way to the very edge of the foot, right? Hoof capsule. What do they show in the sole is concave. No ridge of sole. That's because they carve it out. Here's another one. Animal horse hoof anatomy. Is this correct? No. The lamina goes where? All the way to the very end. They don't show that sole corium lipping up over the outer part of the hoof, growing a big, thick, convex ridge of sole. Instead, they always have the sole carved out and lamina like this, and then they mount the rim of the wall on the shoe, because here's another thing they believe. They believe that the horse bears the weight on this stuff here. Not on the bottom of the foot, but on the sides of the foot. That's what they teach. That's what they all believe. Therefore, they carve out that convex ridge of sole and they force the wall onto a shoe where they force the weight onto the lamina of the foot. And of course, it doesn't cripple the horse sometimes for years because they're keeping it all held together with iron shoe and nails. So here you see what the convex ridge of sole looks like right there. Here it gets concave, but it's supposed to grow real thick so that you have this big, thick convex ridge of sole right here. Now, the farrier comes along. He's told that's not supposed to be there. He carves it out so it looks only concave. You see there? Takes that sole out of the foot and places a shoe on the foot with nails. And that's what holds the foot together for a long time. But eventually, what's it do? It's going to cause Laminitis, where the toe, see how much easier the toe of the foot can fall through the sole? See, because they've been carving that sole out, thinking it's not supposed to be there. They think it's going to damage the foot if it's there. That's how wrong the teaching is. Okay, just a minute here. See, in all of the pictures, you will hardly see, even if you do happen, look, College of Veterinary Medicine, don't you think they could have come up with a better picture than that? But in this picture, you see the laminar corium going almost all the way to the very edge of the foot, so that you're still thinking that the sole is only concave. Only concave. Let's see what I got here. Here we go. Here's a more modern computer generated foot. What do you see here again? The lamina goes all the way to the very end of the foot. Yeah. Oh, then okay, my next file is bad barefoot. See, look at this. Look at this. This is what, okay, now. So they're wrong in the sole and they're wrong in the heels, right? Once you've seen healthy, you'll never look at feet the same way again. Yeah, and so they're killing horses doing this to them. See, farrier, a farrier, the same farrier that type that believes you should carve that out. Of course, he don't do that anymore. Okay, they then saw a dead horse and thought every horse should look like that. Okay, here we go again. Here's a true foot of the horse. Look at the sole corium. It doesn't go, the lamina doesn't go all the way to the end, does it? It goes to here, joins up with the sole corium, and the sole grows a convex ridge of sole. Okay, so I'm going to see if that picture showed again. So, that's why I want to tell you. So if they're wrong on what this inner foot looks like, of where the sole starts to grow and how the sole should grow, then when they look at something, because they don't know the truth, they're going to wrongly interpret what they're looking at. And that's how they come up with, oh, must be a sole callus. See? That's how that happened. Anyway, because one more picture here, just real quick. Maybe I have it here. Just a second. Okay. Okay, so here again, I'm going to show you the true sole of the horse. Okay, you see the lamina comes down to here, and then this sole corium lips up over around the edge of the foot, and you see it grows a convex, not concave, convex ridge of sole right here around the whole perimeter of the foot. You see, just like that. Of course, they thought that part, they weren't used to seeing it because they cut it out. Thought, well, it must be a sole callus. See? And so the foot does get concave afterwards, right in here. Call it a concave bowl, or convex sole ridge, right here. Okay, so let's go and see if that picture showed up, and then we're going to end with that. See, all science and anatomy is interpretation. So if you're not looking and seeing the reality of these pieces of the anatomy, how can you determine what the sole is really supposed to grow like? Let's see here. Oh, okay, it came through.
That
Okay,
that
so now,
sorry.
Oh, just a second.
Okay.
Okay. This is the picture Lisa wanted us to look at. What were you wanting us to see? Well, can you explain that again?
Yes, so this was a question I had about 2 weeks ago about laminitis. That this German Farrier is, I mean, I'm not even going to talk about the trim. He obviously knows nothing about tact or so. He's just a regular Farrier.
Uh-huh.
He wants to help the capsule derotate. So this is something that Risa was talking about before. And he says that he puts in this, it's actually not dental impression material, but it's from a product called Luvex. Laminitis. Yeah, Luvex. Yeah, you know that, Risa. Yeah, so it's a special like
Plastic.
dim. Yes, you have to mix it as well with hardener, and it's a special one for with a certain shore you call it. I think the
shore hardness. Yeah, it's a shore.
yeah.
The more, the higher the number, the harder the material.
Yes. So this is apparently one, I have it as well. I've tried to do it, but anyway, so this is one specially for laminitis. And anyway, he suggests that as you see in the picture, that's how he puts the material in it. He does not cast the hoof. He just puts boots on it afterwards. He sticks some sticky tape, some like sticky tape on it and to hold it in place, and then he puts boots on it. So here he is showing how he puts it in. He keeps the side walls free, and he makes it in like a sort of a roundish shape to keep the rim of the coffin bone free from the pressure as well. So what I wanted to ask, if you think that this will help to for the pony, for more comfort, like you were talking before. And he says it derotates the capsule, so he says without that basically you don't really have a chance of derotating the capsule. So I wanted to ask Risa what if the placement, what he thinks about the placement, and
does he just put a boot on this?
Yes, he put some some very thick tape that sticks.
Yeah.
He sticks it over the. Yeah, you can stick it over the whole foot, but it's not a cast. It's just some sticking.
It's
tape,
like elastoplast, like a plaster tape.
Yeah, something like that, just to keep it in place. And then he puts the boots on. Yeah, so, and he renews this every trim until basically the hoof capsule has grown out, or until it's derotated, until the horse is okay again. So
look, I don't know what the hardness of that stuff is. If it's very hard, well, then he's lucky to get away with it, to put it that way.
As it is especially for laminitic horses. I think the Luvex has two different types. One which is very hard for sport horses, but it's not to do with laminitis. And then this blue, it's actually blue, but it gets a little pinkish when you put the hardener in it. This is especially for laminitis, and I have it. I've tried it, and it's quite pliable. It's sort of rubbery. I imagine it's something like DIM. I have never felt DIM.
It probably is something like them. I can just see the impressions that the actual pressure on it from the ground had on it. So it looks like a rubbery type of. It's probably a type of the dental impression material, yeah. But obviously, because it's now especially made for horses, Luvex is probably made. It's a different company, and probably charge you more.
yes, it's true. So what do you think about the way it's placed? I've seen you doing casts and DIM before, and you place it straight over the back of the foot, yes?
Yeah, I cover the whole back of the foot. I mean, I understand why he might have put this on this foot, because this foot looks terrible. It looks like this front end here looks very compromised.
Yes,
That,
It's
I
that
looking
mean,
looks
like,
we
like a
don't
big
even,
stretched laminar wedge.
yeah,
yeah,
I think
that's
we
what it
don't
looks
even
like.
really need to talk about the foot because I mean, I don't even want to mention the trims that he does and stuff. It's for me just whether it would make sense to put this on in the way he is doing, or whether it's just BS or yeah.
It does make sense in a certain way, but the problem is, I see he cuts the heels off as well. I mean, I don't know, I can't see the size of the foot, but to me it looks like he's taken quite basically a lot of this foot.
Mm-hmm.
So then he basically, what he's doing there is he's trying to support the frog area. Like I said earlier, in the old days, they used to just put a pressure material on the frog itself. But I mean, if this is like dental impression material, it's going to support your collateral grooves and bars as well. So it's going to spread a lot more weight over the back of the foot, which will definitely help. I mean, look, I'm not saying it's not going to help. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's probably not the way I would have done it anyway. Let's put it that way.
Yes, yes.
See, the thing is with the dental impression material is when you put it on under a cast, or just put it on like this. What I normally sometimes do with some difficult horses is I'll put the dental impression material on the foot, and I'll put a little polystyrene pad onto the foot, so he puts his foot down onto it. So the weight of the foot and the weight of the horse will squeeze out any excess, so that shouldn't be there, or that's going to cause a problem or pressure point. So because that's the time it's still soft, because it takes about a couple of minutes to harden up. And once he stands like that for a couple of minutes, while he's standing and with his weight on the foot, what then happens is the stuff hardens to the actual weight bearing of that foot. So anything that spreads forward and stuff like that, it's gonna get much thinner. It's not like it's gonna stay thick. It's gonna get thinner to where there's more pressure on the foot, and where there is not where this, yeah, like that. That makes sense what he's doing there. That is like basically like dental impression material. That I see he just puts it in the back of the foot, in the right at the back of the foot. So I would have put a bit more in, so it can spread a little bit forward. You're not gonna cause any problems if you basically put it a little bit further forward. It's because when the horse puts weight on it, it's going to fill in where it needs to fill in, and it's going to squeeze out where it needs to squeeze out. So you're going to create a completely flat area under the foot, where the whole foot would take weight. But I mean, obviously, you're going to take the leverages of the toe and pillar areas where you don't want leverages.
Yeah,
So I mean,
it looks
this
like
is
there's a lot of foot out front here.
yeah. That's, I mean, I don't know what
Is this
what
his too?
must
Yes,
be.
yes, I think it's one of his clients' horses. So I mean, we don't
Okay.
even need to talk about the trim. That's just yeah, I don't think we'd be would be very happy about it. So it was just really about the placement
Yeah.
of this
Well, that's okay,
this
but we can't
material.
help but look at the rest of foot,
Yeah, that's clear. I
and
know. I
stuff,
was
because
thinking,
that's
shall
all
I
part
send
of
the
it.
pictures?
That's all
Yeah,
part of it. Not to make
yeah.
fun of them or not to criticize or nothing like that.
No.
It's
Mhm.
just, because like I said, sometimes I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, yeah.
people are trying everything they can, but
Mhm.
the disadvantage they have is the false teaching they received to begin with. See,
Yeah.
like you can tell this foot's been hollowed out to look concave.
Oh,
And
Yes.
that goes
what's
right
going
with
on
what
there?
I was just saying.
Mhm.
See, it's all combined together. It all adds up to the same situation. I mean, he's got the right idea to try and
You rotate.
rotate,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, because of the tradition and what he's taught, he's also doing things that are going to add to that, you know.
Yeah. So maybe we can pick out the good things and combine
Yeah.
them with the things that we do.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, that's what you should do.
Yes, just pick
Yeah.
the good things out. So, Risa, do you think it does not matter if this material would touch the rim of the coffin, also where the rim of the coffin bone would be? It doesn't matter if it comes.
No, it wouldn't matter, because you must understand two things. At the rim of the coffin bone, where the soul ridge is formed, this is one thing that I was going to say earlier when Linda was talking about the soul corium flipping up over the rim of the coffin bone and attaching to the lamina, which is correct, because what happens is that that at that point where that those two meet, it creates a thicker pad under the very rim of the coffin bone. And that very rim of the coffin bone is exceptionally thin. It's very thin, and it's actually quite sharp, like a blade. That's how thin it is. I mean, and it can break off easily. So it needs a lot more padding around there, and that is why that sole flips up and connects with your lamina. And also when where that happens is actually at the point where the circumflex artery runs right around the circumference of the coffin bone. So it creates a basically almost like you would have the coronary groove where the coronary band lies in. It creates a type of cushioning for the artery to basically lie in as well. So that soul reach is more than just the soul reach. It's actually the protection of the coffin bone itself.
Yeah, and it grows its own cushioned.
Yes, so the padding material in that area of the coffin bone is much thicker than it is anywhere else, because that's where your two types of coriums meet. And what also happens at that point is where your white line is started to form.
Yes, but if this guy is a traditional farrier, then I assume he will be maybe making a concave, the hoof concave, and then he puts the material in, or I don't know, I'm just assuming. And then maybe this padding of the convex of the sole ridge, he doesn't have it. So I don't know if that's maybe connected to why he doesn't put it where the coffin bone lies, the rim of the coffin bone is. So I don't know.
The problem is when I don't know how bad that foot is, but what happens is I've seen a lot of feet where the actual sole is lower than your wall.
Yeah, that happens too. That's bad.
Yeah.
With a so it doesn't. It's not a sole reach. By no means. It's not a sole reach. That's just the sole being detached from your wall, and it's now your wall is basically kind of loose. So you then have the sole that's protruding lower than your wall. So the horse would put a lot of pressure on that area. So I'd understand probably why he would put it not close to that. But I mean, that's what I would do. But I mean, to also take the pressure. That's what I was explaining earlier about the shoe that I hollow out from pillar to pillar in front of the toe. So there's no pressure from the bottom and no pressure from the top. So basically, your whole area from pillar to pillar on the hoof doesn't take any weight from the top, and it also doesn't take any pressure from the bottom. So you basically completely leave that part of the foot like not weight bearing at all. So you want to take from the backwards, anything from the backwards, you can fill with a dentin impression material or a pouring pad. You know, you don't have to just do. I see he just does the back end of the foot. I mean, supporting the frog. That's his main aim is supporting the frog. That's what he's thinking he's doing. That is what he's thinking is. He wants to support the frog.
Okay, so
and another thing is, well, look here at this foot. Okay, see, a lot of times the frog's displaced.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
over the
That's the thing.
sole. See what happened here? They like this interpretation, they don't
It's,
know.
it's completely, yeah,
This was
displaced.
all mechanical. Now, the horse had a sole ridge, you see it right there, and a tight white line, but the frog was allowed to grow up over this part of the sole so that this part of the sole never got thick. See, we looked at a picture a while ago where, just a minute here, where the sole, you had the sole ridge, which is right here, but then the concave part of the foot, there was more sole that was this thick. See there? And
Yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, so here, what happened was they allowed this frog apex to get way the heck over here, over the where there should have been sole. So there's no sole here. And so the leverage on the wall just finally pulled the whole wall out like that. This is mechanical. What happened to this horse here? Because you've got to have the sole ridge here, and then underneath, which would have been right here. Wait a minute.
Yeah, but the coffin bone would have been further forward, then there would have
Yeah,
been space for more soul.
this would have been right here. This belongs right here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See? And because there was not enough sole here in the bowl, so to speak, in the concave part to connect to the sole ridge, then this piece just got pulled out. See, it just goes to show you why every piece is important to understand this anatomy, so that every piece is in its border and not infringing on its neighbor, you know?
So now if you look at this foot here, right here now, you can imagine that if you just put the dental impression material in the back end of that foot, you're not really gonna get any, you're not doing much really. You're just spreading the weight right there, but you're not doing much in supporting that coffin bone.
Yeah, and the frog
Yeah.
even is
Yeah,
not doing it any good right there either. I mean, everything, this part, this sole here,
it's too thin. Yeah,
too thin. So structural failure is what most of this stuff is going on here. Structural failure of one kind or another because people do not know the anatomy, because tradition has taught a bunch of things, and so they just don't know. They're at a disadvantage. So look, even a cow's foot, they even show a cow's foot better than they do the horse's feet. So
Hey,
anyway,
Linda,
yeah.
can you possibly post that picture, the one with the coffin bone, on the website?
Yeah, I don't
That's
know
an
whose picture it
awesome
is.
picture.
It is. I don't know whose picture it is. It's one I pulled off the web somewhere. But yeah, I'll post that.
That's cool. I'm driving in my car, so I shouldn't even be watching this, but so,
Oh,
I
great.
can't take a snapshot or anything, but that's an awesome picture.
Ah, that's funny. Oh my goodness sakes. See, let's see what else is going here. See, and here's another thing. The foot can look concave because of the way the wall grows and the way the sole attaches to the wall. But in reality, there is a big convex ridge of sole right there. See? There's just so much confusion, so to speak, And see, you got, now look here. Here's your frog apex. Here's your sole ridge. But look how thick the sole behind the sole ridge, how thick the sole behind the sole ridge is. See there? So that even though this is convex and this is actually concave, it all grows to a uniform thickness right there to support the whole toe. You understand what I'm saying? That picture we just looked at had this deal, had a big convex ridge of sole, and then the sole right here was this thin, or well, would have been thinner than that, would have been thin, like here. Consequently, structural failure happened in between here and here. And this is what I noticed on my horse too, that finally the sole that grows under this part of the foot, that it actually is concave, the sole is finally getting thicker and to the same thickness as this part here. I mean, these feet are put together in a specific fashion, you know, and so you ever notice, you know, Riza, how when you reach up and you push right here and it'll give?
Yeah,
right in here,
yeah.
you know,
Thin
so
sole also do that.
yeah, so what we're doing is just a minute, let me undo this, clear all drawings. Okay, so let me okay, so here's your white line right there. Here's right in here. Here's your convex ridge sole that goes right here. Right here, the foot gets concave, growing from here. And a lot of times right here is where your sole be real thin. You know, but see, they're carving it all out like that. And so, just a minute. So you can see here how thick a piece of sole this horse has clear up into there. Here's his foot, here's his coffin bone. Okay, but he's got sole corium, but you see that big thick piece of sole there. So what we're doing, we're getting all this into alignment, and we get this nice sole ridge growing, but then we want to get this sole between the apex of the frog right here and the sole ridge to also growing in thick to support that whole area of the foot right there. See, because you saw from that other picture, when you don't have that, when it's thin here, it's very easy for this wall to go that way and the toe to fall through right there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mechanically?
Mechanically,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Let's see.
Then there's the other thing as well.
What is
plays
that?
a part. Look, when the foot is set up to fail already, and you have stuff like Cushing's going on, hormone imbalances, ulcers, whatever the case may be, it just creates a toxic environment for that laminate to become inflamed and then release whatever hold it still has on that compromised foot to keep it together. And boom, everything just happens very quickly.
Yeah, now see, this is the same foot. Look how thick the sole is in the convex ridge. So anyway, well, Lisa, are you still there? So
yes,
is there something else you wanted to say? Or anybody have anything to say?
No, I think it's good. So it's basically okay if we put the material in the back of the foot like Risa does, and we don't need to, or we can put it right up to the tip of the apex, the apex of the frog.
Yeah, and what I was wondering, Risa, okay, I was wondering, okay, because I don't know if you understood what I was trying to get at earlier because of what we just looked at. Okay, so if the sole is really thin right in this area here, and that's causing some breakdown, could you put something right in here to help hold that foot together? To keep that toe from being pulled back or falling down through there. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know that we do stuff to support the back of this, okay, but what about this little area right in here? That's, you know, like I say, you put your thumb here and usually it pushes in, you know, and you can get a sole ridge right here. But what if you don't have that? I mean, could a person by chance, like maybe some, that VetTech Soul Guard, or could you fill that up with something that might stabilize this and also help? Hello? Are you still
Hello,
here?
sorry, I was talking all the time and I'm thinking, why is nobody hearing? My mic was muted.
Oh, okay, yeah, I did that. Hello?
Yeah, you can look. I've done the VetTech Soul Guard on feet, a lot of feet already. It helps. It's just very expensive, and it's a much softer material. So it depends on the horse itself. But I mean, I've had a lot of success with a dental impression material because it's it basically gives you a much more consistency of the sole itself. You know, it's a little softer, it's more give in it, but I mean, you can actually make an artificial sole with it, so which helps. So if you
Okay.
do have an issue where you have thin soles like that, you can put the dental impression material in there
Okay.
to alleviate. Basically, you're going to thicken the sole with it. Basically, you're going to create an artificial sole.
Okay, yeah. And stuff. Now, also want y'all to know this, that wild foot we've been looking at, this is the sole of that wild foot. Okay. Now,
Okay.
that don't look real concave, does it?
No, it doesn't.
See?
Look, if your boundaries are correct from your dorsal wall to your apex of your frog, and you've got your proper sole ridge in there, then there's very little dip down to your
Yeah.
frog, and especially if you've got a nice thick frog as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's very little dip down.
Anyways, okay, well, I guess that's it for today. We have been here 3 hours. so
Time flies when you're having fun.
it sure does, doesn't it?
Thank you so much.
Well, you're sure welcome. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank
And,
you very much.
Hello,
Lisa,
See you
hello
next
to
week.
everybody.
Hey, hi. How are you? Good to hear from you.
Yes, nice to hear you.
Yeah, how are
Randall's been
things
sitting
down
in the
in
back of
South
the
America
class.
Hello,
there?
Risa.
Hello.
I just have one question. How long
Okay.
it takes the
Yeah.
salt to be when you have around the frogs, the frog, the apex of the frog, soft soil, how long
Yeah.
it takes to get harder?
It depends. Sometimes, you know, it's difficult to say because, you know, it depends how bad the foot is distorted. It depends on how quickly the wall comes back, how quickly your hoof grows. I mean, there's a lot of factors that points to that. So if your foot becomes, you can get it back into its boundaries. The quicker you can get it back into its boundaries, and the quicker you can get the horn tubules to align, your sole will thicken quicker. And also one thing that helps a lot with that, I've noticed is moisture. You know, a bit of moisture helps a lot with that type of thing. And the other thing is, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it. there is a certain nutritional aspect to this whole thing, because I'm sure the horse needs certain.
Hey,
I'm
not against nutrition.
No, I'm just saying, because a lot of people
Don't be
think
leery.
No, I'm just saying, because to build stronger feet, you need nutrition. That's just it. I mean, you can trim it, but if it doesn't grow fast enough to trim it correctly, then you're sitting in a situation where nothing really moves. So it's good to have good hindgut health, because, you know, it doesn't matter. A lot of people put a lot of supplements in food because this is for that, and that is for that, and that is for that. And the hindgut is not healthy. So the horse cannot absorb what it needs to get nutrition down to where it needs. You must remember that the feet is the furthest away from basically from the heart. So when it pumps nutrients and blood and everything, the feet will get the nutrition lost. So everywhere the blood pumps past, the nutrition will be picked up and used in that area. And when it gets down to the feet, there's very little left, you know. So it's something to think about, to, you know, because if you've got a good hindgut health, your hindgut is healthy, so your body, the body can take a lot more nutrition out of the, or and enrich the blood basically. So it's enough nutrients to go around the whole body. You know what I'm saying? So very important thing is hindgut health is very important. The other thing is, your hindgut health is also your hormonal structure of the horse. You know, when a horse has got something like EMS or Cushing's or something like that, it's a type of thing that either stimulates too much one hormone and not the other. So you have a hormone imbalance. So basically, certain stuff cannot be absorbed as quick as possible in the system, or less of it is picked up, and what you need is then you're getting less nutrients in your blood that supplies the hoof, basically supplies the hoof lost. Although the hoof is very blood rich, but by the time the blood gets down there, a lot of the nutrients and stuff has already been taken out of the blood by other parts where it passes through first. So it's something to think about, because trimming is great. Getting the right trim is perfect. But the problem is you can't trim a foot that doesn't have any growth. So you're sitting with the problem if you do that. Does it make sense?
Another, can I mention something too? Another thing, somebody not muted. Okay, another thing.
Sorry, Linda.
Huh? Hello? Oh, sorry. Okay. Something that happened to me. Okay, now I'm just starting to get really thick, hard sole in front of the apex of my frog. And that's because my whole foot shifted and the frog all shifted back to where it was supposed to be. Because, okay, so you've got this big, thick corium. Just a minute here. Let me find a picture. Okay, you see this skin that's on these feet is so thick. See, you see how thick it is? Okay, it's like, and so when the foot is distorted, it can be pushed and moved out of place. Like have you ever had a sock bunch up in your shoe? You know? And
yeah.
Okay, so what happened to my horse is, because the apex, the whole back of the foot was shoved forward, shoving the frog corium forward, then all this corium was forced forward too, right under that space right there. That's not a very big space. Right in there. See where the frog corium comes to? And then the frog should only go about there. And then, so we're talking about this little space right here that gets so thin. So if this frog apex, and it moves, you know, if it's shoved forward, then the sole cannot grow in that area like it should, because, okay, I got one tubule here growing, it's knocking into the next and the next and the next and shoving them forward and laying them over, so they're not growing right. And so what happened, my horse's foot shifted here. Well, it's shifted several times where I had to move the true apex of the frog back, but it finally really shifted and the frog really let loose, and the whole apex of the frog moved back on its own, because it was all, and underneath there was where the real sole was. And now I've got really hard sole right here, because I think I think I shared about this here in the hoof here recent hoof chat a couple ones ago about, and I showed how the sole corium and the frog corium and everything on the bottom of my horse's foot had moved. You know, so we're talking about, yeah, it's nutrition, but in some cases it's because the anatomy's been shoved up into an area where it's not supposed to be and nothing's growing right. And
Yeah.
when you have laminitis, that's really the way it is too. And so now I've got super good soul growing there, because like, let's go back to this picture here of this damaged foot wherever it was. Oh, okay, look at the frog right here. Right about here is where the frog corium, well, and it looks like it's been shoved forward some. The frog corium that grows the frog is right about here, maybe a little further back. So this frog should not be much further shoved in front of it. I would imagine all of this is shoved forward, though. I'm just going to be assuming. So now you have this frog jammed up over the sole corium right here. Okay.
And taking the soul out, yeah.
Yeah, and then that's shoving all this forward. So this sole is not growing as thick as it should be. And of course, their toe wall was too long too, because you can see the different layers. This it shouldn't have been any longer than that, about there. You know, right about there. And so because the anatomy is all displaced, until that horse's anatomy all came back, then you're never going to get sole here, no matter what, because it's all covered up like grass. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a combination of both. And so what we have to do is start learning to recognize the combination of those things, you know, and to be able to tell when, well, is his anatomy still in need of correction? Is that what's going on? Is it something nutritional? Is it a combination of both? See?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is how we started this hoof chat, with mechanical versus nutritional, mechanical versus metabolic, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a combination of things that go on here. And, you know, could be a combination, could be the anatomy, because look at too, then you could be feeding out the yang on the horse, but if the frog apex and the corium is all still shoved forward over that area of the foot, you know, you're fighting a losing battle till it's corrected.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay.
Because I have to send some the pictures of this hand. Is Mariscal, do you remember Mariscal was the stallion, the Spanish stallion?
Yes.
See, I thought I have a good fits, and then they start to get the sole starts to get a little bit soft around the apex of the frog.
Yeah.
So he started, and I really thought I have a good fits, you know, but not.
Yeah, another thing that can happen is when they're going through a bout of rotation, that foot is being pulled back, and then it's also pulling the frog apex back, and the foot is rotating, and you don't realize it. For one reason or another, it has decided to just go boop. And so I know exactly what you're talking about, because that happened with me on my pony as well. And see, you know how we talk about for everything there is a counterfeit, right? And so I noticed that the apex of her frog was really moving back, and I thought, oh great, her foot is unbinding, she's getting better. And that was not the case. Her foot was rotating and it was pulling that back. But here's the thing. Then I had a similar situation happen on my gilding, and it was just the opposite. The frog apex was moving in a good way, and it was moving up off of the sole, and then the sole grew in very thick and good, you know. So I don't know sometimes why they rotate again. You know, when you have a horse that is chronic like he was, it can be very frustrating, because just like my pony is chronic you know, and so I've had her rotate several times and didn't understand why really or anything, but you know, but you just got to keep on keeping on, you know. You know, it's frustrating though, I understand.
It's easy after so much time.
Yeah.
That was a laminar wedge, a little bit of laminar wedge. So the last trimming, I tried to take all this out. Maybe that it helps to take out the laminar wedge that was even there, but
Well,
he started
sometimes it
getting
don't
this
help.
all soft, you know.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't help. Sometimes they need that. They actually need that there. Because yeah, sometimes I try not to always take out the laminar wedge. Not every time, because sometimes it just kind of needs to be there and the foot needs to like.
I thought was time because was a year ago, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
Well, here's the
and
thing
I
though.
started thinking that was time enough to take the laminar wedge, but I think I was not the time.
Yeah, and on some cases, and I have come to this conclusion, if they are rotated clear up into the coronary band here, you may never get that out. You may just have to work with it and keep it there. And once the horse gets to a state where he's kind of stabilized and kind of happy and not in a lot of pain, just got to leave him there. Okay, because if they've had this for a long time and they are rotated clear up into the coronary band, you will never get that laminar wedge out, not without a full resection of where you would have to remove the whole dorsal wall and let it grow back in. And even then, it's iffy. I mean, this is the point I'm at, that with some of these horses, get them to a state where they're stabilized and they're doing well, and don't look for pretty and don't look for normal.
Yeah.
You know, because then you set them off again. See what I mean?
You are right.
Sorry. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, Riza, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. But see, I have come to that conclusion on some of these horses. They have been so chronic for so long, and there's the hoof capsule is so supported that if you can get them stabilized in a place where they're happy and comfortable, call it good and maintain it.
Quality of life for them is better.
Yeah.
Aesthetic, much better than the aesthetics of foot looking right.
Yeah, absolute. See, absolute.
Look, you know, when we did work on these feet, we don't know what type of damage it took inside and how bad the actual compromise is inside. Because I mean, if it cannot or doesn't revive again and grow the stuff that we need to grow, then we got to look for comfort.
Yeah, and that's a hard one to learn, because we're wanting to help them. That's why we're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. And really, that's a good lesson to learn all the way around, that we're not really looking for pretty or what even has to look perfect or whatever. You know, we're looking for comfort, and then if the horse can move on to something better, then we can go there too.
Yeah, look, we give it all the tools to correct itself, and if it gets to a point where it's going in limbo and it's actually damage holding it up, but at that point you get the horse comfortable enough to be happy in doing whatever he's doing, then I think that just try and balance that out.
Yep.
Tell me, Randolph, is this the horse that you had the shoes put on?
No, I never put shoes on. I since 1 year and a half, I'm trimming him. That was the laminitic horse. That was for a long time. They want to put it down, and it's for a long story. And I thought he was doing good because he was walking without shoes. Sometimes I put boots on, for riding. I start riding him, but since I tried to take this laminar wedge, he start getting the sole a little bit soft, all around the
Okay.
apex of the frog. It's
Yeah.
very, very soft, and
But how is he sore again?
it's sore again. It's tender,
Oh.
very tender. And when he hits a stone without the boots, he really suffer,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can feel it. Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, but I'm trying again. He was really doing incredible, he was with a hard sole, and the foot are looking very different right now, like was before. But I was looking more for, not for comfort, for looking, for
Yeah.
study.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
feel for you because I've been there.
See, I
And
tried to bake the perfect food, and
yeah,
I start making wrong.
wrong decisions.
Yeah.
I understand totally.
Start again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let it
Getting
stabilize and then you can
comfortable
start
and
again.
maintain him.
Yeah.
Yes. But really, really, thanks to you for the time. I heard you are for 3 hours and something already at Zoom.
Yeah.
It's a hard time.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, and nice to hear you again.
Well, it's good to hear you. I'm glad that you made it. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry to hear you're having that problem.
No, it's part of the job.
Ah,
See, we don't think that we have or we don't want that type of problems, but it comes for to learn, just to learn.
yeah.
But poor horses.
Yep.
No, I have him with boots, and I have a soft sand box, so he's comfortable,
Uh-huh.
and try not to hit stones and so on. And when I take it out, I put the boots on. That
What
was for I'm trying maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
but still doing.
Well,
But-
well, you just gotta be patient, let them stabilize,
Uh,
you know.
No,
After
I think he's getting harder. The soul is getting harder. There is small, is reducing the amount of soft soul.
that's good.
Yes, hoping 2-3 weeks more. He's he covered already the soul again. Let's see.
Yeah. It's basically this at this point in time you should just try and keep him comfortable and let the foot grow where it needs to grow to harden up and help itself. I mean, there's nothing more you can do other than trying to keep him comfortable and happy, so the feet can actually grow a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, thanks again.
Okay. Good hearing from you.
Nice hearing from you too. Here we are struggling with the governments,
Yeah. Yeah,
With
all of
all
us.
this happens,
It's a world situation.
oh yes, we are trying hard here to get these people to understand what's going on, but they are all aligned with the
All want to
with the
jab.
government.
Where are you from, Randolph?
Costa Rica, Costa
you're
Rica,
from
Central America.
Okay.
Well, big pharma pay them to do
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Sure, they're bribing everybody. So
They are getting good money. That's why
yep,
everything is.
yep.
But struggling with the people here, they want to make this vaccine to everybody.
Yeah, I know.
But,
all over the world.
yeah. Very
all
hard time,
world.
but
Well,
we are keeping on.
well, just keep your chin up there, my friend.
Yeah, that's right.
And Steph, I saw, you know what? I don't
Okay,
really give
nice
a dang
hearing from you.
what people think, about what I think about the jab or anything else. And you maybe came here just to hear about horses' hooves. I'm going to say what I want. You ain't going to give me that jab. And the thing about it is I saw a cool t-shirt and it said, what is it? I identify as vaccinated. So there you go.
Me too.
There you go. Okay. So if somebody wants it,
That's the
whatever.
t-shirts we want to hear.
You can change your gender. You can change your vaccination status.
Yeah, there you go. So all right. Well, hey, my wish is that we all live a long, good, productive life, and that you can see. But I want you to leave. I'll leave you with this. You see how screwed up that man can't even get a horse's foot right. Okay. So what else are they screwing us over on? Just think about it. All right. Have your own mind. Don't believe everything you hear, and always be willing to change your views on anything. If more information comes up, I'll change my views on this deal too. So be independent. That's all I can say. Okay. Well, I wish everyone health and safety and a long life. Okay.
Same
and that God will bless
you,
keep you, watch over you, and protect you until we meet again.
Amen.
Okay.
Let it be so.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Now I don't know how to get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Sound like Alice Cooper.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.